Just do our normal thing.
No more talking. All right, just be really
No,
quiet
no.
and hold still.
Keep
right there.
talking. No talking.
Everybody thinks their screen is stuck and they're trying to fix it. If we all just hold still. Okay.
You can't do
it. 3 sips of one sparkle beer. My wife drinks sparkling waters in a can all the time, and she just says, "Will you get me a sparkle water?" And so then, any of these, Topo Chicos and whatever I just call them sparkle beer.
Cheers to your
Will you get me a sparkle beer? Yeah.
So 10 channel. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Shh.
Oh, you could talk about it. No. Let's talk about it. 20 channel. Make it 20 channel.
Buy 2 of them, bitch.
Yeah. 40K. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well,
I have an idea for a product that would be really fun. It's a multi-stagger powered 10-channel amplifier that I think I would use a lot. So
that'd be great for a lot of stock installs, for changing out all the speakers and for just using 1 amp for an install.
Frequently in like the Ford and Chevy trucks, I'm doing a 3-way in the front, a 2-way in the back, and then subs. So if I had a 10 channel, like maybe I have a 10 channel and its case is the same as our 7K, and they like perfectly match, and they just go together, and you run that to your 4 or 6/8 box, and you run this to everything else, and you get a DSP, and perfect.
Something that I've seen that in the old school amps that I liked a lot was they have the heat sink covers where you can take 2 amps and basically make them look like 1 amp and feed the wires underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anything.
Pretty easy to make.
I haven't seen anything implemented like that recently. Maybe because all their amps were so small back then. I don't know. You could actually put 2 amps together, connect them.
Steven Dunn would be perfect for your build with everything that you are working to do in the future. But yeah.
So if it would have no bass channels, or would have bass?
Well, no, you could totally take those 2x500 and bridge them and have 1,200 watts on a sub if you were like an SQ guy and you just wanted like a measly ass little bullshit amount of power running your subwoofers. But if you're an actual man with a no, I'm just kidding. No.
Not
like, what are they talking? Look at our audience. What the fuck are you thinking? How dare you, sir? I want to run 1,200 watts.
Yeah, to my mids, my doors.
So, so our friend, our buff-looking friend here in the corner is Ben Barnett, and he owns Ruthless Audio, and he's a good friend of mine. And if you guys remember, a couple months ago, fucking massive truckload of amps showed up at Gately Audio, and we were forklift in and busting our asses. Thankfully, it wasn't freezing ass cold like it is right now. Would have been sad. You're like, oh, fucking cold. I've been all good luck. I'm all in my office. But
you'd still be in sandals.
Dude, it's good thing it wasn't like 2 weeks ago. I've been underwater. Shit.
But Ben makes some badass amps, and he's a good friend of mine. He's a really good dude. And we've been selling some of his amps a little bit here and there, and a lot of competitors or demo competitors are diving in with these Ruthless amplifiers, and I think it's really cool. So
yeah, for sure. I rarely sell one. I normally sell like 4 or 5 of them when I do sell. Sure. So
yeah, we did right away. I mean, the day that they arrived, our buddy Brad met Ben that day, and that day purchased 2 8500s and a 4-channel, and that thing's a beast now.
Yeah, thing's nasty. It's so nice too. It's such a nice car.
It is a really nice car. It drives nice still. You know what I mean? We're eventually gonna probably tear that out, do 6 12s, and make it a wall. I mean, it's a wall, but it's kind of like it was meant to be like a no wall, no backseat box, and then his shit was just flexing and ripping itself apart. So we started reinforcing shit in there, and now it's a fucking wall. But it's not a real wall. It's as loud as a lot of them are, but it'll be better when we tear it all out and do it all over again. But I think it'd be a massive amount of money for him all at once, you know. And it's amazing as it is. Right? You know, it does like really a 56 or a 57 on
Whose
music.
car is this?
It's a
his
Mercedes.
name's Brad. It's a Mercedes like bi-turbo 8 V8. It's
okay
for the amount of fabrication done to it.
What was that sound? Did somebody just fart?
I heard it too, but
that was my
his phone vibrating probably.
I was like, man, that thing is tight. Wow, he's wound up. All right.
I hope it doesn't do
Silent.
He just kept talking to, and in the imposter, and he wasn't like, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, bro.
Okay. Sorry, but yeah, so Brad Nichols, he lives just minutes from Gately Audio. We see him almost every day. And now we're at a point with Brad where like he's like, hey, can I make myself a little battery box in the back? Yeah, go ahead, Brad. He's over there cutting shit and working. Like my cousin was visiting, and he's like, I didn't know Brad worked here. And I was like, yeah, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
He's just building shit in the back. Fuck it.
The battery box looks already. So,
what's that?
Awesome.
The battery box already looks pretty nice.
Yeah, it's coming together. He's working really hard at it. I was like, get it all the way together, and then I'll design a badass acrylic top piece for that.
Nice.
What's he doing for batteries? Like LTO bank?
What are they? Tell us about those batteries.
Spims. He has 296 amp hour spims that he's going to be charging at 15.8 because he's been charging at I think 14.6 on headways.
Okay.
So he's changing the regulator of the alternator. He's going to be charging, or I think he might already have some type of system in place already that he can adjust the voltage. But he's going to be adjusting the voltage up to 15.8 and 296 amp hour spims.
What are your amps like voltage wise? I mean, they're probably like a big range, but are they 18 volt plus
no,
amps?
They're not 18 volt.
they
cap at 16.2, and then obviously like the lower that you wire, the lower you should probably lower that input voltage. But they cap out at about 16.2.
Okay.
So if you're running higher voltage, it's not as good to be wired at a half ohm or
it's not as good. Yeah, it's not
0.1875 ohms or something.
Yeah, it's much harder on the power supply for sure.
I see.
For sure. Yeah. So I always recommend that to people as they wire farther and farther down to drop the input voltage farther and farther down as they wire down.
I guess that does make sense.
Yeah, because if not, you overload a power supply, send a lot of amps to the repair shop.
Gotcha. Speaking of amps, how many amps are you running in that beast that you're building there? Or is that not public knowledge yet?
The hearse?
Yeah.
So I'll be doing 8 8500s at
He's gonna run tera amps in that. No.
Yeah, Stetsons.
Stetsons. Yeah, he's gonna order a bunch of Stetsons off the fucking Amazon.
30Ks.
Yeah, just all 13Ks and then 13Ks for the doors too. 8 8500s at 0.5, and then 5 of the 1500.4s for the doors, because Gailey's doing the doors. It'll be 32 Neos and 16 bullet tweeters for the doors.
16.
Holy shit.
See,
I keep getting talked out of
horns.
See what say that one more time. What's in your doors?
32 sky high Neos. We haven't selected the size yet. I have all of the various sizes, but I don't know what Gailey's going to go with yet. But I have 32.
This is 16 per door, you're saying?
16 per door and 8 bullet tweeters.
Okay. See, so I could do 8 or 10. What's wrong
with
10, Bobby?
Oh. Said no.
See. Okay. All right. Fine.
I want to make so for your square mid, Steve. I want to make a badass, probably like billet grill thing and make it almost like it's a coaxial and have like a fucking horn tweeter
In the
on
middle.
your, so it's still a shallow, right? But then it's almost like it has a grill, but that grill has a
tweeter mounted in the middle.
horn fucking tweeter in it. I don't know. It was an idea I had while I was driving, and I was pretty sleepy. I hadn't had enough coffee yet, but I liked it a lot.
Oh.
16 of those.
Oh my god.
Horn tweeters aren't as brash as bullet tweeters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are they not?
They
Are
sound
they horn? Yeah, I mean,
they're way
yeah,
smoother. They're way smoother.
they are horn tweeters. I guess they are bullet tweeters.
A lot of
Yeah,
stores
but
was John Robbie's Colorado. That
okay.
Colorado that he had with the
Yeah.
doors, that thing was probably the nastiest mids and highs. I've never felt vocals inside my body like that before.
Well, dude,
Yeah,
I mean, like,
that 120 hertz that you're like, oh, that 120 hertz doing a hair trick.
Yeah, those doors were pretty much doing that too. They were they were so loud.
I think you had McLaren mids in those doors.
That's
Right. But dude,
That's
after
the
I don't know,
that's the goal. Is like it's doing a hair trick, and everybody's like, oh, and it's like everybody's cringing near it, and you're like, none of the sub amps are on. It's like,
no,
oh.
No way.
You're wearing hearing protection while you demo.
Dude.
Because
last week when we had the BNC guys on, you know, they really talked about if you want like really loud concert vocals, like a bigger speaker and less of them is what you should do versus. So they got me thinking like maybe I shouldn't do as many. Maybe run the 9s instead of the 7s because they're bigger.
Yeah,
and just
run
do
like
less of them.
3 of them or 2 of them or something.
Well, so I could still do 8 of them, but that'd be maxing it out.
Really?
I could fit 8. It'd just be really.
Why don't we
tight.
put 6 real nice on that shit?
It's either 6 nice or 8 tight. It's one or the other.
I like tight.
Depends on which girl you're asking.
Liar.
That's right. You wanted 6 or 8? I mean, you tell me which one you want.
Yeah, I would. That would be a cool thing to get to say to which one you want. You want the 6 or the 8? There's just one right over the top, dude. You want them both, hey?
You want the 14?
Go.
Huh?
Here you go, sweetheart. Oh my god, it's fucked up.
Oh man!
All right.
So tell us a little bit about your background, Ben. Like, how'd you get into this crazy shit that we all love so much?
So originally I had a classic Impala that I used to take to Autorama, and then they were having a show at Autorama, and it was overwhelming. This was like back when you could demo at Autorama.
What year?
This was probably like 2017.
Okay.
2016.
So it was one of the last years before the whole
before they started. Yeah. And went out there obviously because you can hear it. I mean, it's like one of the biggest car shows, but you can obviously hear it throughout the entire car show when they're demoing that loud. And got my first demo from John Nolte, a friend of Bobby Gailey's in the shop for sure. And
which build was it? In one of the
Blazer.
It was the Blazer. Yeah, it was the full throttle Blazer with the Nightshade 15s in it and the 2.
Was it when it had the Nightshades in it, or was it when it had the ZV5?
No, it was when it had the ZV5s in it. It had the ZV5s and I think one Sound Digital 8K or something like that. It was super nasty. Super, super, super nasty. I think the most power he ever had on that thing was 2 8Ks.
He had 2 8800s, and it did good. But when he had one wired at 1 ohm, and they were the 2 ohm version of that amp, he made more power out of 1 at 1 ohm than 2 at 2 ohms. And it was awesome. I mean, he was like clamping 13,800 watts out of that amp. And it was a Sound Digital 8800. I have that amp. It's at my shop. It's mounted up on a wall. Like we talked about putting a frame around it. I think it was a Warrior.
It was
We
probably
love
the
that
most efficient demo build I've ever heard in my life. To
And
this
it would
day, 100%.
all day, all that amp running at overclocked, and it's a fucking Korean amp. I'm sorry, a Brazilian style amp 5 years ago. When Terra amps, like you would like look at them funny and they'd be like, and you'd be on fire.
Yeah.
How did napalm come out of that? What the fuck? But this thing was, and it would just play. And it's because John would just test the shit out of it. And he's like testing and doing this, and he had certain songs. He'd be like, "Oh, don't play that one. It'll put the amp into protect." I'm like, really? But he'd be like, "I don't know what happens early in the song. It does something with a little change, and somewhere in the middle of that change, it doesn't have the rise that I need it to have, and don't play that one."
Yeah, and I think it did like 62s on that 1.8K, and that's in that Blazer. And those Blazers are not exactly the most SPL friendly vehicles to get super loud. They always demo
the driver door to pieces. It had a fucking split down the middle of the door, like all the way from an inch away from the window to all the way to the bottom to where just at the seam. There's a rip all the way down it, and it was like 5 layers of sound deadening on it on the inside of that door. So yeah, John and I drove down to a what?
Did he pour that resin and sand through the door?
That's what he did after. He got 2 new doors. We went down and got them from a wrecking yard, and he called it carcrete, and he would mix sand and fiberglass resin and milled fiber, which is like a fiberglass, like almost powder. It is a powder, like a fiberglass powder. And I can't remember what else, but you didn't ever want to have to grind or cut that shit away. Ever.
Yeah. What was it like all mixed?
He'd do like
first?
a pour along the bottom, and then he'd like glaze the whole door on the inside and got it. He's like, it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. The fucking door weighed like 1 billion pounds, and it was for sure bulletproof. Bullets would bounce right off of that shit.
Did he like mix all the dry stuff first, fill the door, and then pour the resin, or how did he?
No. He would mix it all. It was like a slurry,
all in one,
creamy.
Okay.
Creamy. It was like pancake batter.
All right, and just poured that shit in there, huh? Mm-hmm. Damn. Crazy.
I did something similar that was probably not quite as rigid, but if I wanted to take a grinder to it, I could, and it wouldn't fuck my grinder up real bad. I didn't want to put the sand.
Was that fucking hard? Holy shit!
Oh, like
a rock?
No,
because the sand.
Yeah, I think so. Primarily the sand.
Huh. That's gnarly. So you heard Nolte's build at Autorama, or was it Surf?
No, it was at Autorama in Sacramento. Because that's where Nolte's from or lived.
Because I remember I think not the first time I heard Nolte's, it may have been the first, but it was the same setup. The ZV3s, maybe, because this was a while ago. I don't think it was ZV5s. Was it ZV5s?
ZV5's been around since 18, since 17.
Yeah, and I think he got them.
Okay, yeah. ZV5s, yeah, and the same thing. Had the one sound.
No, he might have had. He briefly had ground
zeros. Sound digital 20K?
Oh yeah, he did have ground zeros before.
He had ground zeros for a little while, but they weren't.
I never heard that. Okay, so you hear set up at Sacktown, and you got your Impala. But so you're not really like a bass head until you hear this setup. Basically, you're more in the car show scene.
Yeah, and then I went out immediately and bought. I think the next day I bought 2X12 or 2X15s and a 4K.
What'd you put it in?
I put it in my Dodge Ram that I eventually cut into 1 million pieces.
Tell us about that.
So I went from the 2 Sundown X's to Jeff Vu to JVF Customs. And then because John Nolte was running Sound Digital, I started running Sound Digital. So I started with 1 12K on 2 18s and a 4th, and then quickly changed it to 3 18s and a flat wall, and then quickly changed it to 4 15s and a flat wall, And then I had the 415s in a flat wall till we broke the box at CES and knocked an amplifier off the wall.
Oh shit.
And then get apart, built a fourth order in it. It was pretty good. It got me, I think, third in Cyclone, back when you had to actually RTA for Cyclone.
Is this like a cut through, or is this all inside the cab?
This was all inside the cab. I never cut through into the bed of it at all. Okay. That's Mikey's plan with it now, if he ever gets around to building it, is to cut through the bed.
Put a camper shell on it, walk it all the way.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do, but camper shells are so expensive right now. It's ridiculous. They're kind of like diesel trucks. They want so much money for camper shells.
What I did when I got my camper shell for the Green Monster is I just looked like twice a week on Facebook Marketplace until I stumbled across one. And I made it known to all my friends that I knew looked on Marketplace and shit regularly. And one of my buddies was like, I think this might be what fits your truck. And I was like, oh, yep, shit. And dude was like, $500. It doesn't have any hardware. And I was like, give a fuck.
Fucking sold.
Oh, yeah. I pulled up and I like looked at it and I'm like, can I place it on here just to make sure? And the guy was like, doesn't have any hardware. I'm all, okay. Put it on. I was like,
see, when I was looking for them, they were super cheap. They were like $400, and someone wanted like $500 for one that was color matched with mine. I was like, oh, that seems a bit excessive. Now you can't. It's the only one I ever found. Now you can't find them for like less than like $1,300. It's like, dude, you buy a brand new one for like $1,200. It's white, So if you find your color for like $1,300 or $1,400, I guess
send it
a little bit. Yeah,
that's still not that bad.
Yeah, but
I mean, our woofers should be like $1,000 each. Otherwise, we're not.
His woofers are $1,000 each.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so what's $1,300 for a camper shell? I guess, right?
Yeah.
But still, I know what you mean. Like everything a couple years ago was fucking half the price.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is now, dude.
So the first time I knew I was talking to Ben, like I probably had met him before or something, but he gave me a call and was like, what would you do for sound deadening? And I was like, man, if it's, if you can afford it, you strip the whole interior out of that shit and have them spray the fucking bed liner on that shit like a half-inch thick.
Specifically.
And then he fucking did it.
Specifically, what is the Linex? You were like, take it to Linex. You were like, don't.
Oh yeah,
spray it with garbage.
Because the Rhino stuff is really gooey, and the Linex is really hard, and kind of scratchy, right? Yeah.
When I went there, they were like, oh, we'll do the whole truck for $900, and I was like, sold. So I trailered in the car empty, and they sprayed it, and I picked it up, and they were like, never again. They're like, never will we ever do this ever again. They're like, man, we could have shot like 6 tailgates in the amount of time it took us to do that thing, and we charge like $800 a tailgate, or not a tailgate, a truck bed.
A whole bed.
Yeah, 900 seems
yeah, they're like,
really
we could have done like
cheap.
6 truck beds in the amount of time it took us to prep your truck and sheet the inside of it.
So they did do a half-inch thick?
But yeah, it was probably, a good 3/8.
Jesus, was it fucking super rigid or what?
It was semi-rigid, but it was like adhered to the paint. So when it moved the whole panel. So it didn't really move except for the roof. And then we did the outside of the roof and put a stripper pole in it, and it solved that problem. But I mean, I had roof tears everywhere.
We should have. It was before I knew to laminate the plywood. So I would have, like, if somebody was going to do that now, right? If somebody was like, I got a bare vehicle easily enough, I would laminate plywood to all the flat spots of the floor, and then I would do the whole roof, and then just start pumping bed liner in until they won't spray it in there anymore.
Yeah.
Like, no, a little more. And they'd be like, psh. All right, stop. No, dude, no more. Like, can you get there and there and there? Yeah, fuck you. I'm done. We're done. I'm like, all right, cool.
The doors were rock solid.
$900, right?
They never tore, never nothing. The doors stayed.
And they did the inside of the doors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you pulled the glass and everything out, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised we don't actually see more of
Who
that.
did that? Who pulled all that glass and shit out for you?
Bo.
Oh, okay. When he was working harder. Before he was a piece of shit.
I don't know what you're talking
That
about.
dude.
So.
A guy named Bo.
I hear that.
Piece of shit. There you have it.
Okay,
Yeah,
we just leave it at that. Okay. Okay, you got your RAM. You've done many builds in it, and then what else? Carry on.
That ain't the end of that motherfucking RAM.
Yeah, we
you still have it.
We finished it with a 6 order. No, I sold it to one of my friends. I sold it to Mike Gabriel. We finished it with a 6 order, and it was nasty. It did pretty decent, that's for sure. But hopefully, I sold it because I was trying to maintain it and the subs and drive it and do everything else while also building the hearse. And the hearse is financially crippling. So having both, like, it wasn't too bad at first. Like, you'd blow a sub or, something would happen or whatever. It'd be like, whatever. But it's like, because, maintaining a base vehicle is not cheap for sure.
Well, it would have probably been fine.
Had I had like a professional builder.
If
$1
you
million
didn't have to pay to do it twice.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have somebody else helping you blow up your shit in your operational base vehicle.
Yeah, that would probably help.
Yeah. So
sometimes the moral of the story is sometimes there are people that are supposed to be your really close friends, but they're actually pieces of shit that are stealing from you and destroying your shit. And those are two different people. And sometimes they're both doing it at the same time. So there's that. And that happened a little bit to Ben and a little bit to me by the same guys. So,
yeah. Sometimes
fuck those guys.
Sometimes it just helps to pay a little more.
No, it's you pay the motherfuckers later.
Yeah.
You pay them when they're fucking done.
Yeah.
There's very few people that I will pay up front for anything at all. And if I'm doing new business with anybody, they're all, do you want to give me a deposit? And I'm like, yep. And they're like, how much do you want to give me? And I'm like, the absolute least amount that I need to pay you to actually have you get started. And then when you're all done, and if you need to pay me a little bit as you go, you keep me updated really well. It's a good way to do it. Every time you want some money, you got to tell me why. And then when we're all done, I give you a whole bunch.
Yeah.
When it's all done. And then
is that what you do for your customers?
Oh, my customers pay me all 100% up front. And when it comes to like a custom build, like if I build somebody a custom box, they have to pay me 100% up front. Because I had a dude, I have a box.
Dude.
It's almost like, no, I don't want it to leave
100%.
because it's a reminder. I had a guy give me a $500 deposit on a custom box for his mega cab.
Okay.
And it was only going to be $1,200. This is when my pricing was a bit less. And I built the whole ass box. It's all done. It's ready to go. And he's $700 to pay for it. And he's like, oh, I got in a motorcycle accident and it's going to be a minute. And I'm like, oh, it's all good, man. And then he contacts me a couple months later and he's like, hey, just getting back on my feet, getting going. I'm going to come get that box. What do I owe you? I'm like, $700. He's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey man, I got this big ass box here in the fucking way of everything. Like you should come and get it. Oh yeah, for sure. I'll be up there this weekend. Okay, cool. Yeah, right on. And then he stopped answering calls. So it's like, okay, yeah. So custom boxes, custom fabrication. Now, when customers are getting audio systems installed from me, I don't take deposits at all, but I sell them their audio gear. And them buying their audio gear is obviously they want to do their install and they're obviously spending their money with us. So if for some reason they can't drop off their vehicle or they don't have it anymore, or they want to have it done elsewhere or whatever else, there's no deposit. Here's your gear. We're good. Thank you. And you're fine. And I'll move on to the next guy in line. Because deposits, the reason why people get deposits is because they're not refundable. And people are like, oh, hey, you know, that $1,000 I gave you to hold my spot, I just think I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, okay. Like,
yeah.
Remember we stood in my parking lot and talked for an hour and a half, and I drew you pictures, and we talked, and we picked shit out, and we said, and I put you on my fucking board. You paid me $1,000 for that shit, just in case you didn't come back. I didn't.
Yeah.
I actually made really good money for my time, while you were otherwise wasting my fucking time. So that fart happened again.
You farted again.
That's not me for sure. I mean, if I fart, I will pull my pants down and put my butthole on this fucking lens right here. And so
the timing was perfect on that one, though. It's like right when you were done, it went burp.
Blah, blah, blah,
blah. It was good. Anyway. So yeah, okay. So you still
the Ram
Dodge, and now that's sold, and now you picked up a fucking hearse, and you just went crazy. I mean, was the plan always to go all steel like that, or
no? So first we were gonna steel cage it, and then we put all we put the steel cage in, and then somebody brought up the very the point that the entire shell is made out of fiberglass from 1995. Yeah.
Okay.
So the entire rear is all fiberglass, and it's thin. And they're like, man, if you put wood in there, it's going to move and it's going to destroy everything. All this fiberglass from the B pillar back, or from like the C pillar back. So really the only thing that we could do, that I could think of, that could make something rigid enough to where it wouldn't flex like that, was to build the enclosure out of steel. And then after we started building the enclosure out of steel, we built the cabin out of steel. And then it was just supposed to be simple doors. We added the doors to 180 out instead of opening regularly. They 180 suicide to make like a stunt wall kind of thing. But we also had to cut the roof out from where the enclosure comes in to where they slid, where the end of the casket meets the cabin of the car. Since it's a car, it's like just got a regular car roof, and then it opens up to that hearse in the back. Well, it was just a 90-degree angle, so we had to cut that out and kerf it like out of steel and kind of make the roof curve down to the dash. Because without it, it was a super awkward drop down of like 14 inches and then into the cabin.
That was, for a minute, you were going to do it inverted, right? Because of that. You were going to build the box all the way to
you're talking about,
and have it loaded from the low side, right?
Yeah, so that all had to be cut out, yeah.
Yeah.
Because before it was just a roof that just went flat across.
So basically the whole underside body of the car is steel, right? And then the whole upper portion's fiberglass?
The whole upper portion's fiberglass. The entire roof is fiberglass. So right behind that steel is all fiberglass.
So you basically had to build a whole nother car inside the car, in essence.
Yeah,
that's gnarly, dude. But I guess it makes sense. I mean, yeah, if you would have just done wood, there's still. I mean, I don't know with the steel cage. You still probably would have torn the car apart.
Yeah, and when we first started, it was going to be 4 Wolfram 4500s, and then we went to the 9Ks, and then when we went to the 9Ks, that's when we decided we were going to make it all out of steel. So I was like, that's going to be a lot of power.
Yeah, it's
this thing started.
Crazy, dude.
This thing started before the existence of Wolfram, and now it's not done yet, and Wolfram is pretty much gone. I mean, like, Wolfram's gone, but yeah.
I guess they're coming back from what I heard, but
yeah. Jordan owns it now. So
which Jordan?
Jordan Close. He's installer out of Arizona. He was at Francisco's funeral. He goes to all the big shows. Just a guy from Arizona. Installer
Okay.
from Arizona.
Did he buy? Did he buy it from like the other owner guy, the silent partner or whatever the fuck that guy was?
I mean, I don't really want to speak for him, but I mean, I would assume so because I believe he is under full ownership of it. I believe.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, they had a good thing going there for a while. I mean, it definitely kind of came up really quick. I mean, the Twisted like had gone away, and Wolfram came around at this perfect time, and obviously, I think with JP's help, they got pretty big pretty fast. So
Yeah, they
it
made
was
a
everywhere.
for the price for sure. Great
Yeah.
product for the price.
So, so you're building this crazy hearse, and you got 8500s. You said it's going in it.
8500s on 8 JBF Custom 4.0s.
Okay.
Wired
15s,
at
18s.
0.05 ohms each.
Yeah, you guys, you know someone for warranty?
0.1 ohm coils.
Shit.
Gonna run those amps at 19.8 volts.
Just getting all the power.
Maxing out all the limits.
And then 450 amp hour C-Max. So 225 amp hour on each side.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So should
Should
be
be at the
nice.
demo all day.
Yeah. So the bags just got put on it. We're trying to get it onto the trailer. We had a little snafu with the bags, trying to get them on because they're 15,000 pound semi truck bags. So getting them to align correctly to where they air in and out straight up and down was quite the challenge. So they're on now. I think he's plumbing the airlines tonight. So it should be getting fairly close here soon. So
in the parking lot of Gately Audio scheduled for this Saturday. Is that right?
I don't know. I'll have to
tentatively.
Tentatively.
Well, we've been tentative. We were tentative for last Saturday, right? Or not last Saturday, Saturday before.
No, yeah, the Saturday before, and then everything flooded.
Yeah,
like took out his 120, took out his 220. Yeah, he couldn't do anything. There's so much water, flooded the whole property. I think it destroyed totaled his sister's car. She was trying to get on the property, like drove through too big of a puddle and totaled her car trying to get out. It was bad.
Totaled it?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Bad.
Are you guys still? Are you still getting weather right now? Or are you good?
No,
it's nice. Fine. It was like beautiful today. It was like 67 degrees.
Perfect.
It was a weird.
It was fucking. The guys were working in the parking lot, and the sun was out. We had the bay door open.
Yeah, that's nice.
Sacramento.
Shit.
Fucking weird.
Yeah. So is there a debut for this hearse planned? Are you hoping to make the barbecue? Or?
Yeah, we're trying to get it to Sky High. So.
Oh no, Steven, he's definitely using his ruthless amplifiers. In that, I was being feces-ish when I said he was using Rockville
tar amps,
Tar
amps on the subs and Rockville.
I'm talking about because I said the ruthless 9 or the Wolfram 9Ks.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And now he's using his own amps.
Yeah, I'm using my own amps.
Because he got so good at selling his fucking Wolfram replacements. He was like, I'm so good at this. You sold that pit bull for me real fast. I was like, I don't want to be the one selling this. Sell this for me. He's like, all right. He's like, hey, cash for you for that amp. I was like, cool.
Yeah, I found out I have a knack for selling amps. So I was like, I might as well buy a few hundred. So.
Just make my own. I mean, that was what he said. He's like, dude, I'm going to do my own amp line. I was like, that's fucking rad. He was like, dude, I got so good at selling amps. I figure I should do that shit. Excellent.
Why not?
But,
got a good solid supplier.
Yeah, so hopefully trying to have it ready for Sky High. I have all the equipment. I have everything for it. So I have all the wire, all the RCAs, all the fucking everything.
Yeah.
So, all the plexiglass.
I got the gnarliest list of shit that's supposed to be done before that. Dude, I'm like, holy fuck, there's a lot of that.
I'm hoping that if you can just cut it out, maybe we can assemble a lot of it other than the plexiglass windshield and side glass, like the baffle and the.
Oh yeah, you guys are doing that shit.
Yeah,
you got that. But yeah, I'll cut the baffle and things of that nature. I gotta make your doors though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'll make those. You guys will install those too.
Yeah, if it comes down to the doors, I will show up to Sky High with a 10-inch mid and everything working 100.
Yeah. So we'll start with the baffle and shit. So that's what we should be doing measurements and stuff on and designing those baffle parts. When we get it there first. That way we can just kind of hump those out and you guys just fucking got them and you're moving forward.
Yeah. Is it 6/18s or 6 or what'd you say it was? 8/18s? 8/18s. Okay.
8/18s and a 6-order. It was designed by Chris Kyle and Wyatt out of Utah.
Okay. It's gonna be a low end monster, huh?
Yeah, I told him wind first.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyle knows what he's doing there. Well, I'll tell you, from having my build kind of playing, I mean, it's playing, but it's not playing with the correct equipment. But all steel, dude, it's definitely, you went the right way. I mean, you shouldn't see a whole lot of movement. I have very little in the very back where my battery is welded, like my battery rack is, the base of it's welded to the back wall. And it'll move enough to like move your phone off of it after 5 songs, but that's probably the most movement in the entire car.
That's the whole truck shaking like that though.
That's full tilt.
That's not resonance. That's not your fucking steel cage flexing.
That's just vibrations. I mean,
that's just the whole fucking. The idling engine might be doing it just as well as the music.
Oh, it's definitely the music.
Okay, well,
but yeah, you'll see.
You got 9 cones doing like this. It's trying to make the whole truck do the opposite of that, so it's resonating through the whole vehicle. I doubt your cage is flexing.
I don't think it's flexing either, but I'm just saying, like, because he was worried about. I don't know if you heard this part. You may have walked off.
When I was getting my sparkle beer.
Yeah, he was going to do all wood inside the cage. Wood skinned cage. I'm guessing, right?
Right.
Yes.
And then decided to do steel instead because the whole upper part of his car is just like that fiberglass shell.
Yeah.
They were saying that it would basically destroy the top if you didn't do steel. Right?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Probably. I mean, if it fucking flexes.
My shit don't flex. So I don't see his shit flexing because yours.
I mean, or you would have to have this, like fucking 2 inches thick on top of a steel cage of Baltic birch and like fucking reduce the interior of his.
Yeah, that's what should have happened if I would have went wood. I should have paneled the fiberglass first, and then put a steel cage in. But being the morons that we were, we put the steel cage in, all excited, and then we were like, "Oh fuck, what are we gonna do about this?" And then it was too hard to panel in wood behind the steel cage. So I was like,
with Byron's truck, right? We wood laminated the whole roof, and then we started building the cage. At the same time we were building the cage, like anytime we would like have a little bit of a stopping point on the cage, we would work on the sunroofs. We like disassembled the whole sunroof motion mechanism, just had the glass and made like a fucking 1/8 inch and 3/16 inch steel structure that the glass dropped into like a regular window would, and put a fuckload of window adhesive in, so it went in the way a regular window gets glued in, and then we made up and that steel structure then becomes part of the cage. But we had wood laminated the roof, and then when we put the cage in, we then welded the cage to the body everywhere as well, so that hexagonal shaped structure in the Soulgasm is also attached to the body of the truck. So it's reinforced. Everything's reinforced to itself everywhere a lot.
Yeah, that's what we did with mine too. We welded the cage to the roof, the floor, the sides, and then we did the 8 or 16 pound foam basically backing everything. But if you were to do that on that fiberglass, it would probably destroy it. Because
the
that
expanding
shit, like,
foam
unless you
would have
don't
blown the
bleed,
fiberglass because that shit's like less than an
It's-
eighth of an inch thick.
Dude,
It is,
it's bad.
it
Yeah,
ain't-
it's
yeah,
super.
it
And
probably would have pushed
and
that
it
fucker
like
off of there.
and over time the fiberglass will dry out and get real dry, like literally drying out. Like any of the oils in the polymers start to kind of dry. It's kind of like the inside of a boat when you get slivers and shit from it, the fiberglass. It's because that shit's getting old, and those hairs are drying out and poking out. Where a brand new fucking boat, that shit's nice and shiny and smooth. You just rub your hand on it, it's not going to poke you unless they did a shitty job rolling it out when they made the fiberglass. So, yeah. So.
Oh, and they for sure did a shitty job. Those charter companies are garbage. Have you ever looked at like a hearse or?
Oh no, I saw your car
car.
before you started the cage and shit on it, and it was like, wow, the quality level of this is real fucking bad. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, man, there's some fuck it. Like,
yeah, pretty much, dude.
Like they were like, I was gonna finish welding this section, but then I just didn't.
Just fucking forget it.
Like,
Yeah,
you see a
that's
guy,
awesome.
it's like, oh, he was kind of stitching along, and you can tell he was supposed to go like all the way these 7 inches over here, but he got about 3/4 of an inch, and that was plenty. Fuck it.
Yeah, those charter
cable.
companies build cars so bad. Like every single hearse I've seen has been like that. Same with like flower cars and anything that those charters build.
Fucking the highest end mobile home, fucking motorhomes and toy haulers and shit. They're fucking garbage. The workmanship is just absolute shit. You start taking it apart and you're like, this is put together with the shittiest 2x2s you can buy from Home Depot. Like 2x2 pieces of wood. Like, you understand
they're going to cut every corner. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap.
Absolute garbage.
And
ask John Raby about his experience with, the several brand new super high end fucking trailers, all of that
trailers
shit.
Are a fucking unbelievable ripoff.
They're super duper expensive and they're absolute shit.
Yeah, it's terrible. But the hearse, it's a Cadillac, right?
Yeah, it's a Cadillac.
Like the base of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's
a good bone.
Fleetwood. It's the same chassis as a 94 to 96 Impala SS.
Okay. Does it have a 5.3 in it or 6.0?
5.7 LT1.
5.7. Okay, 5.7 LT1. Hell yeah, dude.
So an easy LS swap if you had to.
That's where it's going to go as soon as it's loud.
Sorry, an easy LS swap when you have to.
Yeah, that's going to definitely happen. So I can put like 4 or 5 alternators on it for sure. Because I can only put 2 on there right now.
Yeah, and then it'll die. Yeah. 2 Brand X 400s on here, and under load, it's all blup, 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 blup. You're all bro.
425.
Well, remember when we were talking about the CB radio guys, and they got like supercharged with fucking 300 shots of nitrous, and they're fucking redlining these things, and when they key up, it's putting such a load on the alternators that it's like pulling the motor down like it's gonna die. Like 1,000 horsepower engine has an alternator bank that when it's chooching at 5,000 RPMs plus with 1,000 horsepower, and they're squeezing the nitrous the same time they're fucking keying up. Wouldn't that be cool?
That's so fucking silly to me. But I guess it just seems so dumb.
I mean, there are people there are
obviously
probably an equal number of people across the world that would see them do what they do and see us do what we do and go,
no,
those people are all fucking idiots.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah,
way more.
100%, 95%.
At least what we do.
Like, what are you into? And I'm like, I'm into bass, and they're like,
dude, but everybody likes music. I mean, what they're doing is a whole nother level of just fucking crazy. In my opinion.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's fucking absurd, but I want to go to one of those things. I'm like,
I don't even know what
all that for pretty much nothing. Be like, if if I ran a couple 1-aught runs from my battery bank in my fucking green monster over here, you'd be all right. You wouldn't need this 1,000 horsepower, bud. Like, we're gonna be okay. Like
I still don't really understand what happens. So, like, if you were to go watch one of those and they key up, like, do you hear something?
everybody gets ball cancer immediately.
So whoever gets
That's
the
what they're
most
trying to
cancer
do.
the
That's
fastest.
all, oh, my balls.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I'm
sense,
like fucking cell phones rip out of your pocket and stick on the side of the car.
Yeah,
And
like,
when he lets
what
off the
exactly
key, it falls on the
happens?
ground. Everybody's all, whoa.
Like, who sucks the most shit out of people's pockets wins?
That-
Is like that. Let's go. Let's go.
You're fucking,
It's
that'd be
happening.
wild.
Buddy.
That's not the pocket, though, buddy. That's not his pocket.
Fucking A, guys.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
so
guess
we're
Drew's
missing
not
our,
able to log on the airplane, huh?
Yeah,
He said he was going to try.
We're missing our bearded brother there because
Our
he.
bearded
I don't know what the hell what was he doing? Tuning? Is this another tuning trip? This guy's all he does is tune now. So all I have to do is get a max and learn how to tune for 6 months, and I could be a world-renowned tuner. So how bad is that? How bad they need tuners in this world? I'm just gonna fuck with Drew a little bit.
I don't know, but I got a max. I got my max. It arrived yesterday. Woo! I haven't even opened the fucking box yet. I've been scrambling like, dude, I'm working my fucking ass off. It's wild as fuck right now. There's a lot to do. Yeah. There's so much.
Now that you have the max, are you going to try to steer people towards the JL's DSP, or are you going to just try to really more or less how to figure out the best way to use it for
we'll do some
control
JLs.
stuff?
I got a couple of local guys that already have JL DSPs, and if I find that it makes it that much fucking easier, then yeah, I'll probably use JL DSP.
Just start.
But so many of the installs we'll do, I'll need 2 of them. It's only got 8 channels. More often than not, I really wish I had 10. I mean, I'm sorry, 12 channels. And the audio controls only got 10. There's an Audio Dynamics one that I actually have one, and I'm going to put one in my own truck. Audio Dynamics that has 12 channels. The Helix I did recently was 12 channels. You know that there's a Brax DSP that's like over $10,000. Did you know that?
No.
Brax DSP.
Of course not. No.
That's for real.
Of course I didn't.
Of course not.
I don't
Of course not. Because fuck no. Like, I'm not. If somebody was like, "Hey, bro, I was thinking about getting this DSP for $2,500," I'd be like, "Oh my god, please tell me I don't fucking need that."
What they want for the Helix?
Helix is like, I think it's like 1,800 for the 12 channel.
10 channel or the 12 channel?
Yeah.
That's 12 outs.
Yeah, 8 in, 12 out.
Jeez.
Or it might even be 10 in. Maybe I'm right.
What do you need so many ins for? Is there just one source? What
the fuck no, dude. When you're doing,
I don't know
when you're doing like a factory, like in a Chevy with the fucking Bose system, you got 9 channels sometimes to work with. Just feed them all in.
High level?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Oh.
Some vehicles, there you have no choice but to use the high level from the factory amp. And then you got to fucking fix all that shit. That's what the fix fucking 88 or whatever the fuck it is that JL makes. Is like it isn't just a high level converter. It's kind of a DSP, but all it'll do is you'll be like, all right, here's all the channels, make them all flat.
So,
and it's all, here's the flat output. And then you fucking put that into a DSP and then you're doing. But some of the really nice.
Would you say like from back in the day, you always put a head unit in someone's car? That's replaced now by having to put this other shit to make their factory head unit work with everything else.
Yep.
So now instead of putting a head unit in, you have to put this other shit in.
Now,
because the head units are so good now, you don't want to get rid of all the shit.
Take the head
don't
unit.
Get me wrong. I'm not a fan of most pack components, but the pack components that are made for the Jeeps and the Dodge that have the optical output dongle that you can buy and add to it, those are cool. And so the mega cab that we're working on, he has that, and that Jeep that we just did last month, that one had the pack module. It works perfect.
So you just have to run an optical to your DSP, and then you're good.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that makes it way
That was
easier
really
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the other option, if you wanted to make it easy, would be to put a new head unit in there. If you put like an aftermarket head unit, like one of the expensive Alpines are like $1,600 or whatever, it has all the same features as like the factory ones. Does that get rid of all the all pass, high pass, all the bullshit,
Yep,
or you
it does.
still have
Yes,
to
it
do?
does. Yes.
Okay. I see.
So does that
'Cause
little
I'm-
pack module with the fucking optical. Boom, you're good. No all pass bullshit.
But that's only if the head unit or the car you're working with will accept that module, or can you use that for any
Yeah.
of them?
No, you can't use it for that is specific to those Dodge vehicles.
Okay.
And I don't know what other vehicles they have that for, and I don't know how well they work, because more often than not, pack products are kind of shitty. But that one is really good.
Well, it kind of reminds me because
having an install bay, I don't know how the fucking the regular install shops that they're like, oh yeah, people pull in and I do a head unit and 4 speakers. I don't know how the fuck they make money, because it's a nightmare. I know they do. I know they're doing really well. There's probably installers and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, cool, but I don't see it and it doesn't sound fun. I don't get it how the fuck they deal with those nightmares, because integration is a motherfucker and engine noise is hell.
Let me ask
you know, I know how a lot of them do it. They're all, hey
So
man,
like the cars.
not all the speakers sound or work correctly and you have engine noise. Here you go. Actually, they don't say that. They go, the installer goes, hey man, it's fucked up and it doesn't work right. It sounds like shit and it's making engine noise. And they're like, did the speakers turn on? Is the bass working? He's like, yeah, okay. Give me the keys. Okay, cool. And then the customer comes in and he pays, and then they go, here's your keys. And that's how they do it. That's how most of the shops make money. So, because those guys show up and they're like, hey, and I'm all, I'm like, fuck. I get the guys at the Ford trucks that have the B&O system, and they're all, dude, I went to Car Toys and I spent $7,000 and I get 30 seconds of bass and then it pulls back. And I'm like, we experienced that at Gately Audio and we fought with it and we fucking figured out that, like, as far as we can see, you have to put a fucking Zen module in, otherwise you're fucked, because I don't know how to make it not do that. So any of you guys, any of your friends that have a Ford with the B&O, you can't just tap into the factory amp output of the sub, because it's going to pull back the bass. You're going to have no fucking bass. You're going to be sad.
Why does it do that?
I don't even fucking know. It's literally
does
the worst
it do
thing.
It stock? Like,
yep.
Normally?
It does it to the factory sub.
It's probably something
like
iPhone has. It's like,
no, you're like, oh, I love this song. It's my jam. And you rail it up and you're like, yeah. And then, like, you don't realize it, like 45 seconds later, it like pulls that sub back to about 30% of its output. And you don't realize it did it, because the factory sub is insignificant anyway. But when you have 4 8s and 5,000 watts, you're like, I'm fucking. What the fuck, bro? It's like clip crazy. Lights blinking and then not anymore. And then it's like, they're all,
what the
they
hell?
come to me and I'm like, so we should add a Zen module and we do this and this and this, and this will make it perfect. And this, in the meantime, I'm going to turn up your gain a whole bunch. And then you're going to play it like this. And then, like, about 45 seconds later, you're going to turn that motherfucker up some more. And then you're like, bitch, I fooled you, bitch. I got it. Yeah. So that's how you do that.
Okay.
Not that it's ideal, but that's how you do that shit. Integration sucks ass. It's hard. It's really difficult. Tuning is difficult, but tuning is fun. Tuning is like, the best analogy for tuning DSPs is like you're playing a really difficult video game that's fun. And when you're done, your audio system sounds really, really good. And if you suck at that game, it fooled you and you think you're done, but you're a fucking loser and your audio system sounds like shit. So, yeah.
But is it even worth replacing factory speakers if you're not going to amplify them? So my cousin called me the other day, and he wanted to just change all his door speakers. He's got a 2021 Toyota truck, and I
Oh,
remember you
and
guys
in
saying the
Toyota, I
Toyotas
would say
were
no.
like the worst because I
Because
remember you
Toyota's
saying
the worst. They got like 3
Yeah.
all-pass filters. They sound like
Right.
shit, like really, really shitty shit, garbage.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he's
And
just
then
gonna
they
because
only get, yeah,
I told him if you change the speakers, I'm pretty sure it won't do shit
it might
in
make it worse.
that particular car. Yeah, I said it could make it worse
In
too
that
because
car, it
those
might make
cars are
it way
kind of
worse.
like
You're like, dude, I spent
So
$1,300 and I bought all these badass speakers and
and it
it sounds
sounds
like
worse.
shit.
So yeah,
It sounds even worse. It sounds really weird and fucked up because there's all-pass filters all over that are.
that's what I
And I
think.
get it. If you put them in the exact same spot, maybe the all-pass filters would kind of help. But
Dude, that just how many fucking fucked up stereos are there now out there? Because
Of them.
people who don't know about
Oh.
all pass filters are still installing a lot of systems in these cars and having no clue.
I don't even know
how
how many I did that I couldn't figure out why they were fucked up before I knew what the fuck that was. I mean,
fuck.
recently, in
wonder
recent
why.
years, I did this woman's F-150 and she didn't get the aftermarket audio with the truck. She got the shittiest one. And that thing, and I know for sure that the issue with that vehicle is all pass filters. I know it is now. And we put a bunch of badass shit in there. We worked our asses off on it. And I'd get some songs that sounded fucking great. And some songs sounded really weird. I could not figure out what the fuck it was. And I was like, and now, she's moved away. I think they moved to Texas. And I'm like, damn, I never got that quite sorted out, And yeah, shit, I gotta send her a message. I know what's wrong. I'm gonna do that shit. I swear to God, I'm gonna put that on my list of things to do tomorrow. Hi, hey, I know what's wrong with your shit, and I thought of it last night while I was on my show. And send her to a dealer that can help her fix that shit. She's got a DSP. If she puts the beta stuff on the audio control DSP she has, somebody can set those all pass filters for her and get that thing dialed in. I mean, we had that thing set perfectly flat. It was fucking beautiful. I did the Harmon curve all nice. And there was a couple songs that it was like, oh, it's fucking beautiful. God damn, this is great. And then it was like, why does that song sound so funny? It was like, what the fuck is going on in here? But yeah.
Yeah, it's like they almost threw all those filters and shit without, well, they didn't tell anybody. It's like you guys had to just figure it out, which is crazy.
Yeah, I had no fucking idea. It wasn't on my radar. We looked up all kinds of shit. We've talked to the people at Audio Control, and they didn't know shit about all pass filters either. So they're like,
isn't that weird? It's almost like a conspiracy from the manufacturer, the car manufacturer.
A little bit.
Let's just
so I got a question from Skylar Jones. Skylar, I highly recommend the 3-way adapter for the Ford trucks, unless you got a couple $1,000 extra to build some fucking badass pillars. Because I'll tell you right now, nothing is an eyesore like ugly fucking A-pillars. Shitty, ugly A-pillars. If you got A-pillars that are supposed to match each other and they look a little different, that shit'll fucking kill you. If you have A-pillars that have it looks like thermoformed ABS plastic and there's screws exposed and it doesn't match the interior of the vehicle, you'd be like, I fucking hate those. Those look like shit. And so yeah, the 3-way is really cool for the Ford trucks that Steve makes. We keep in stock the 2-way adapter and the single, just the 6.5 adapter in stock at the shop, because that's what we typically use, because we usually build pillars. But for us to build pillars, you're talking $1,500-$1,800 for custom pillars, but they're not going to look like shit. They're going to look fucking beautiful, and they're going to sound beautiful as well. So yeah. Scott, Drew's alpaca nutsack pillars. Yes. Yeah. Buddy Williams, I helped Buddy build some really cool A-pillars, and he was like, I'm going to upholster them. And I kind of showed him a little bit, and I gave him the upholstery to do it. And he started, and then he just sprayed way too much glue on it. And then he just stuck it. And it was fuzzy, wrinkly ball sack. Remember those, Ben, in his in his, was it his first cruise. He sold those to somebody. Somebody paid him a bunch of money for those. Like he pulled them out. They were like, dude, I want to buy those. They sound amazing. They're the shit. And he was like, all right, I'll go sell it to you. It was like $1,000. He gave him the speakers too. The whole shit right out of the car, right there, like at whatever event he was at. And they were like, fuck yeah. They were like, they straight look like gray elephant balls. I mean, and I would make fun of Buddy so much. And he was like, you bought them from me. I was like, and he did a really good job because Buddy is hyper coordinated. He's kind of got some gifted shit going on in certain things, right? Have you watched Buddy do any kind of sport or coordination related thing?
Oh, I see him take off on 2-wheeled vehicles all the time, or 2-wheeled scooters and everything else.
He's fucking coordinated as fuck.
He's coordinated. He is.
Dude. He has a beautiful golf swing. Like it's fucking. We went to Top Golf for like a little Gately Audio Company Christmas party thing.
Yeah.
And Buddy's like, and he crushes it, and I'm like, holy fuck. And he was like, wow, was that good? I'm like, that was fucking awesome. How long have you been playing? He's like, that's the first time I ever hit a golf ball with a golf club. Come on.
Yeah, some people just got it, dude.
I'm like, try to hit it. Try to hit the back. Try to hit the back. And like, he fucked up a couple. And then, boom. It was before you were working with us, Colt. It was when you were still locked down. It was when she still had you trapped in the basement.
She puts the lotion on his skin.
It was when you were putting the lotion on the skin. Fuck, those are the lotion on the skin days, bro. Sorry about that. You missed that one. But it was really cool. So anyway, so I show Buddy the how to spread Bondo a little bit, and he got it. And I was like, you don't want to make like a big fucking mess, and you don't want to put on more than you want to sand off. And he like got it. It was like really cool. I'm like, dude, you got a knack for that. That's cool shit. And then he kind of fucked the second one up a little bit because he got all impatient. and then he wrapped them, and it was kind of a mess, but it was anyway, it was and they sounded really good, obviously, because fucking really well built solid A-pillars that are kind of on axis is really awesome. I mean, raises the soundstage, makes everything louder because you're not diffusing the shit out of it everywhere. So
yep. No, as soon as I added, I got those custom speaker pods for my pillars in my daily, and it's a 3 and just like a 1.5 inch tweeter.
Yeah, I was just making fun of those
6.5 in the door
a minute ago when you were gone.
Oh, were you?
I was like, man, nothing will fucking bum you out like ugly ass black thermoform plastic with screws and shit sticking out everywhere. So don't get shitty A-pillars.
They don't have screws sticking out, but for
do they have screws sticking
in? It's fucking really good.
No,
everybody's been using them too. I see them, and I mean, it's such an easy solution. I see them in so many.
It's great. I mean, for the money, they are fucking excellent. And I've seen a couple guys work them into a build pretty well, and I was like, that was kind of cool. Like they're like, I don't know how to get these things aligned, but if I put this thing on and I fucking glass this bitch up, that might be pretty cool. Yeah.
And then correction, I guess Jordan Close doesn't own Wolfram. I'm not 100% sure who owns Wolfram, but Wolfram is still a thing, 100%. So.
It might be the silent investor guy that, which would be kind of, you know what I'm saying?
A pair of these.
I know Lorenzo just wrapped his.
What you got there? Those look fancy. Yeah, dude, just bolt that shit on your dash. That looks cool.
Reader can go like any way you want it. So like however you mount it.
Damn, I want one of those like on each shoulder.
So you can put it as far down on the A-pillar as possible, and then you can just push this tweeter in whatever position you need it.
Damn, that would work hella good in my Sprinter van. I don't have to build that big ass custom pillar. I just be like, bloop, and they're fucking in there,
You could. I thought about replacing the custom speaker pods with these,
That's a good idea.
They've not got it around to. The thing about the custom speaker pods is like the speakers I have in them are expensive and high end, and so I don't know if these
What
are
are
going
they?
to sound any better.
What you got in there?
They're like they're old Helix, made in Germany from like 2003. So they sound great. It's hard to change them. But I don't know, for the quick solution, the custom speaker pods, I don't think there is a
I mean, for that price,
if you're gonna,
I couldn't touch that shit. They have a really good function. And a lot of SPL builds and shit. They're great. They're really good. And some of the door ones and stuff, that works.
I heard some loud doors that just had those speaker pods.
Yeah, just nice and simple. I mean, there is. I make fun of them a little bit, but like, they're like, "What could you do?" And I'd be like, "Well, what I could do costs fucking over 10 times as much, so it's not really fair. But I'll make something really beautiful that will likely perform a little bit better. But if you don't have $2,000 to spend on your fucking doors and $1,500-$1,800 on your A-pillars, then those things are going to work great, All
right. I haven't opened these yet, so let's just open them live. It's a custom speaker pods.
Let's do it.
This is not released yet. It's prototype shit. He wants me to test. He's always been a big supporter of the show.
I talked to that guy for a bit. He's a nice guy.
So obviously, Kicker's got square mids now. So maybe some of these for the truck.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
We go on the doors. Yeah, so it's 2 9s, or 2 7s, and then it'll fit the Kicker tweeter too.
Man, those are the 7s.
Yeah,
the 9s.
2 7s. Oof. Sure, yeah, those are the. Oh, maybe they are the 9s. I don't know. 7s or the 9s.
Fucking open that square. Put your hand across that shit.
Yeah,
that's a 7.
Oh yeah.
Unless you got some giant ass fucking hands.
I have some pretty big fucking mitts. But yeah. Custom speaker pods. Go buy
cool.
Not a sponsor of the show. But anyways,
now. They're all. He's like, I don't even know what just happened to me. Bobby was talking shit. And then Steve was like, I have these. And then Bobby's, they're not so bad. They're kind of changed, but they're kind of cool. Like the first time I saw them, I was like, oh, I don't know, dude. And it was like, dude, these are kind of cool. They were only like $139. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool then. Like,
yeah, it definitely has its place.
Yeah. And it'd be hard to do something that was anywhere in between. Right? It's either.
Because I asked you about that. I was like, have you ever thought about doing something like that out of wood? And you're like,
I'm like,
what do you think?
It'd be fucking.
What if you took those
$1,500 or some wild shit? People be like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I know.
What do you think about using those as like a base and then fiberglassing them into your pillars?
I saw a set of pillars that somebody had put them on and glued them on and didn't screw them.
Okay.
They glued them on really solid, scuffed them all up, spread a little bit of body fill on it, and then painted them with texture paint. And they were kind of cracking a little bit, but they looked really good. I was like, there's a lot of fucking almost. And then I talked to him about it. I said, if you were to go back, sand this shit back, and drill a little bit of holes in the A-pillar and drill a little bit of holes in the pod so that you get what I call mechanical adhesion. So when you put the Bondo on there, it kind of holds in those little holes that we have there. Are you going to bring me another one? Okay. Here, will you take the empties? Sure. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Of course. He's a good kid. I know, right? Yeah. He was doing the dishes. That's why I didn't bring it earlier, and I had to go get him. So, but really anyway,
so yeah, just a little extra work and
a little bit of work, and you can make and the reason why he had done it that way is he had them and he hated them. And he was like, God, there's this shiny black thing. It looks stupid. There's these fucking screws. And he's like, I replaced the screws and I used little fucking washers. And And then I had these stupid looking purple washers and it looked dumb and I hated it. And then I fucking glued it on. And then I did a little bit of body filler, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And it kind of cracked a little bit. But I think with somebody that has, you can make it work. But most of the time, by the time you have the skill set to shape a set of pillars, you could probably fabricate the components that you're going to glue on to make it all work, you know? So there's like an in-between point where it's like,
doing like Bondo work is not hard, I guess. I think it's Bondo, a lot easier.
Bondo work. Remember, think of the first time that you actually all by yourself mixed up catalyzed Bondo and applied it onto a fucking part, and think about how hard it was for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's exponentially like I did like crash course in fucking brain surgery with body filler stuff with my cousin and Tyson the other day on last Monday. And I was like, all right, guys, this is how we're going to shape these parts. And we're actually making really fancy door pods for 2 6.5s for the cat eye Chevy trucks. Because my cousin has one. I have a customer back east. I have John Rabby has one of those. My buddy Josh, that's like one of my best friends, has one that he wants a set. So we're making 6 sets of them at once.
Okay.
So, and anybody's wondering, they're like going to be at least $1,800, maybe even a little more when they're done. They got grills and they'll be upholstered and they'll be sexy as fuck. And anyway, so not cheap, but I did the first one. This is what I want it to look like. Okay. You guys do the rest. I'm going to go ahead and leave. Like, and you guys just work it out. And if you fuck any of them up real bad, that's okay. We're building the full extra set that we don't need. And so if we have to throw any of them away, that's okay. But you guys work together all on your own. Colt wasn't there. I wasn't there. I was gone. I went to jiu-jitsu. I was like, fuck it, I'm out. And they're going to figure this shit out. And they fumble fucked a little bit, but well enough that I was like, this is what you did wrong. And this is what you did wrong. And you guys are going to help each other fix that shit. And then they were like, oh, and they did a super good job. And neither of them had very much experience at all. Tyson had a little bit and he struggled a little bit on his own, but working body filler is a thing that you have to,
it requires feel.
You need to be taught a lesson and then you be left the fuck on your own. It's the only way. It's the only way to learn that shit. I mean,
I like body work is you have to have somewhat of an eye of what you want it to turn out like, and
you have to be patient.
What it's supposed to look like, and you have to be patient. Yeah, like it's a lot of sanding. I mean, but
no, it's not.
Well, okay,
it's sanding. But a fucking moron said to me this, and I will never forget it when I think about doing any body work. Don't put on more than you want to sand off. And so you put it on, and then you go, and then all you should really need to do is knock down some high spots. Because knocking down high spots is way better than knocking down this whole fucking thing is too high. Because you'll make a lumpy mess every time.
Right. Not a lot of sanding, but like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like sanding with a purpose, I guess. There's skill, not even just skilled, but like a lot of stopping and feeling, blowing off, cleaning, and just, you're only supposed to try to get it, like you said, you shouldn't be putting that much on to begin with, so you're not taking that much off. So it's not a lot of sanding. It's the time, I guess. It's long sanding versus a lot of sanding. That kind of makes sense. Like not rushing shit because you don't have a ton to break down. You're just trying to make it as perfect as possible. So, I mean, obviously a good block set is.
You should definitely do it smoking weed.
You smoke get zoned out. OCD for sure.
Exactly. Maybe like wipe sip a beer. You're like looking at it.
Yeah.
Sharpie.
Right there.
Make a little mark with a Sharpie. Mark your low spots with a Sharpie. Block that shit. See how much you got to put there. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's not hard. I feel like almost anybody
It's
can do
hard.
it. It's just if
it's
you don't
one of those
if you don't
things
have
that
patience, it's probably hard.
It's not hard to do, but it's also really easy to fuck it up real bad because you can make a lumpy fucking mess out of anything and be like, I don't even know what to do now. It's smooth. Like you rub your hand on it, it feels smooth, but your hand goes. And then you're like, oh, now what? It was way easier when there was a hard edge to fill right there, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So Blake said, but yeah, I would run 100% run custom speaker pods on my doors. Okay. But Blake, if you made $250,000 a year and it didn't matter whether you spent $150 or you spent $2,500 on your door pods, what would you run? And I don't need to fucking even begin to answer that question for you. You would buy the super beautiful ones that some badass fabricator would make for you that look like they might be factory because they might perform just a little better and they'll look way fucking better. So, or if you were a super badass fabricator, you'd be like, yep, I'm going to go ahead and build me these fucking badass pods. So that's the response to, and yes, if I wasn't able to build shit for myself and I wasn't financially capable, yep, I'd run those too because they're fucking cool. And for the money, they're fucking outstanding. Yeah. I personally think, and everybody knows this, he should charge twice as much money for those shits. He would sell just as many and make 4 times as much money. He would.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
you're like, dude, $139. There's probably hell of people that have them. They're just sitting on a shelf somewhere. They're like, I don't even own that truck anymore. Yeah. They were like, I had that truck and I didn't even have speakers or anything. And I found this shit and I just ordered them in the middle of the night because it didn't matter. But it'd be way better if you charged more and
don't charge more. We need to keep. Some people don't want to pay more.
Yes, they do.
Bobby.
I feel like that's half a car audio though, is just having all your equipment sit in a room for 3 years before you
stop yelling at me. I have a whole fucking room at the shop and I'm like, I should put this up for sale. I know I'm not even going to use this.
Yeah, the room right behind me is full of audio equipment.
Take us over there.
On the ground.
Show me your room. Show us your room full of audio shit. Do you have one too, right, Ben?
Everything of mine is in Buddy's garage.
It's in Buddy's garage. Because you have your amps full of stacks of amps. So Ben has a whole other person's fucking garage full of shit. Steve has an entire bedroom. You want to go snap a photo and bring it back and send us the photo?
No, because it's like, it's not all my shit.
Because all the sex toys are in there too, aren't they? It's in the sex dungeon.
It's a dual purpose room.
Dungeon.
Dual purpose room. Okay, we'll just leave that. But yeah, I mean, between that and my garage, like I don't know how much old stuff you guys have. I almost don't ever sell anything or get rid of shit. It's just,
see, I have no old stuff.
Stacking up.
Buddy just has 8 of my subs, all my batteries, a whole Bank of America worth of plexiglass.
Nice. Yeah.
So hopefully that'll come out soon. We'll cut that up.
We only got a couple months, dude. 3 months.
How thick is your Bank of America plexiglass?
1.25 inches.
Oh, it's really bank? You went to the bank and got their old plexi?
No, I found it on.
Dude, he robbed the bank,
Marketplace.
And all they stole was the plexiglass bulletproof windows, bro.
That's probably more than the bank had in it. Shit.
No, I found it.
How much was it?
Free.
Really?
Yeah. Come up with a year. I was so stoked. He was like, "Just get it out of my garage." I was like, "No problem, man. We'll be there."
Yep.
How much do you have?
I remember that he reached out. There was a little bit left, and I was like, I don't even know. It might be too fucked up for any of my shit. You know what I mean?
An absurd amount of plexiglass. 2 full truck beds full, like overflow, like up past the bed, full of plexiglass. Probably 14 sheets.
Holy
but
shit!
It's like, but like windows and like a door and like, so like cut down into usable pieces. Probably a full hearse.
A full Hearst.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
fucking awesome.
That's going to be the
a
shit
come up.
someday. Somebody's going to have a 5-inch thick plexiglass car. It's going to be like, it's going to have like a cab of a fucking C10. And the whole back of it will be all 5-inch acrylic. And there'll be subs.
I didn't
in
know
it.
they made 5-inch acrylic.
Oh yeah, you can order that shit.
Jesus, how much is that weigh?
Just fucking, dude. We tried to unload the fucking sheet of 2-inch that they delivered to my shop, and I was like thinking about sending it back and having them cut into chunks for us because it was like 6 big strong dudes, not including me. I don't count in big strong dudes. Fucking, and they were like scared. I don't know what it weighed, but it was extremely heavy. It was, I don't know. I mean, if it's double a sheet of 1 inch, it's, close to 300 pounds. It was like awkward. 300 pounds ain't that heavy, but when you got a 4x8 sheet of 300 pounds, that's heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cut a finger
maybe,
off.
Maybe 3. I don't even know. Yeah. Could do a search.
Dude, that's such a come up on that bank glass.
What'd you buy? Somebody bought an Alpha 12.
Have you messed with it yet? Have you cut
Bennett,
it down yet?
James Bennett is watching this show.
I haven't cut any down, but I know that Rick from Ultra had Bobby cut some bank glass before, and I think it was different, like slightly different acrylic.
The surface is anti-scratch, so it's fine. It's just, it's hard if it does have scratches. You have to polish out any scratches. You have to sand off the anti-scratch. It's pretty fucked.
But if you don't care about scratches, then who cares?
We're gonna engrave a bunch of cool shit on it anyway, and hella dicks. Ruthless dicks.
Just a ruthless amount of dicks.
That dude's dick is ruthless.
Oh god. Yeah, are you gonna have Bobby etch a bunch of stuff in the glass, or is he gonna keep it?
Yeah, so we're gonna engrave the windshield.
Well, not dicks. Maybe some dicks. Hidden dicks.
No, it'll be all the company shitting on them will be on there. Gately Audio, Sky High, LAF, JVF Customs. Engrave that in.
Are you doing a plexi floating wall baffle? Like, what
I
do
think
you do?
we're gonna try to do a plexi port and a plexi loading wall, and then the folded 6 is going to have a wood baffle in the front and a wood baffle on top, and then the loading wall in front of that, because it's not a 6.5 order or what they call a 6.5 order, where the sub's actually on the baffle, like it's still inside of a box inside.
Yeah, so it's like the DD tank kind of.
Yeah, it still has a loading wall. So the loading wall will probably be plexiglass, and then the port will probably be plexiglass. Everything's 90-degree angles, so it should be.
Like this is all news to me, gentlemen.
Or wood.
I'm building what?
Yeah. Would you be able to make the loading wall and all that out of what you have? Like, do you have big enough usable sheets?
Yeah.
Oh, then they have to do it. Bobby. You're doing plexi, bro. Well, shit, just the money you're going to save in wood alone.
What would be the big difference between making the port out of plexiglass versus wood when it comes to adhering it to the wood? Anything? Or adhering it to the box, to the steel?
We just got to bolt it on there.
Okay.
But like, so let's say we were making a port assembly that's going onto the baffle.
Well, it's not.
We wanted to make that out of acrylic.
It's a slot port, so it's just a wall of plexiglass.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the loading wall is just a wall. So it should just be regular cut square pieces of plexiglass put in there. So it should be simple.
Super.
Well, if you have to over
you need a little more pineapple juice consumption and sparkle beer so that your jizz is just right to adhere the acrylic to the Baltic birch and the steel.
Yeah. I'm sure I could whip something up.
Sounds nice.
You had me at whip.
Bobby, your schedule after the barbecue between that and Slam is probably retarded.
I can't even imagine what it'll be like after
the barbecue.
I mean, the last barbecue, like I'm gonna sound like an arrogant dick, but there was a little bit like, here are all the builds that Gately Audio built, and then there's a few more, and it was kind of like cheating a little bit, and I can imagine it'll be more like that.
At this next one.
Well,
there'll
be a lot more. There'll be a lot more vehicles that are Gately build at this barbecue. Also, all the crazy awards that we're going to be building for the barbecue should be really fun as well.
Oh, I did have a question. It said $5,000 in prizes. Is he doing $5,000 in prizes for the competitors? Because it said $5,000 in prizes, $5,000 in raffles. So I didn't know if it was the same thing. Or
$5,000 in prizes, like cash money that'll go with a lot of these big awards we're gonna do.
Nice.
I'll be making 2-inch thick acrylic like monument awards that are like, I don't know, 26, 28 inches tall, 11 inches wide. And they'll be fucking beautiful. And it'll be like, you know, the guys that travel the furthest, the scariest fucking demo and the most shit your pants demo and the somebody died in your vehicle, so you get awards.
Like the specialty awards like we do at my show, basically.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called. John had a whole list of them, but I'm just guessing. Just guessing you killed somebody with your demo. Somebody shit themselves in the demo. Might be the same person. So, and yeah, you traveled the furthest to kill somebody with your demo.
Damn, dude, I really wish the Explorer, I had the equipment in time for this barbecue because it's the 10th one. It's gonna be fucking huge. And I'm not gonna have a build up there this year. So here's what it is.
We could rebaffle that bitch and put 9 Gately Audio Relentless 15s in that thing for the weekend.
When you say we, what do you mean by that?
Like, I make the baffles and I send them to you with a bunch of subs and we put them in.
It requires a lot of like extra work.
I'll loan you 3 amps.
Yeah. I'll loan you the subs.
I guess I could just screw the baffle down, no glue.
No, we make it fasten to your fastening points. I make 9 individual fastening baffle adapters to
that'll go in where my
onto the, you know, we have a fucking round
basically
plug that goes into the square hole for each at every spot. And they would fasten directly to your already existing fastening points.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And then we put 3 Ruthless 8500s.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely loan you the 3 8500s for sure.
That'd be kind of
fun. All right. That means I'd have to build some sort of loading wall. Right?
I mean, I'm sure we have some extra acrylic to just bolt on the sides.
Yeah, I mean, no, like
that's the fucking say. I'd have to build a loading wall. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. No, but that could it might happen. But after when I actually get my shit, I am gonna bring the Explorer up there. Don't need to be on like I'll even just leave it there for a little bit, whatever. And then when it's time to work on it, I'll just fly up there and we'll bust some ass on it. And if you have any of that bank acrylic left, I'll steal some from you or buy it from you.
See what we have left for sure.
Yeah,
I have quite a bit.
Dude, we make all of those fucking square speaker to round speaker adapters out of that acrylic, and we put lights inside of them all.
Yeah.
There you
You can
go.
do that. You can put Ruthless audio and Gately audio etched side by side around them.
Shitaholic down the edge, all the sides of them.
Yeah.
Shitaholic.
Gay shitaholic.
Still my
Okay,
favorite
twisted.
moment of the whole quietly loud existence is the shitaholic, and it was because you guys were leaving me out. I was not included. Hey
You're always
Drew, you want to
included,
help
bro.
me out on that project with the DSPs? I'm like,
I
what the
never
fuck?
said that. Fucking dickhead.
I'm all, what the fuck? I ain't in it. It's shitaholic, and I'm not in this shit. What the fuck?
You're in it, bro. You're fucking center cog. Main gear. Gay shitaholic. Quit fucking around.
Gay shitaholic. So,
Well-
Scott, if it was Snap-on sales tactics, I'd be like, all right, Steve, I'm gonna give you these fucking subs, bro, and you're gonna pay me $100 a month or a week.
Yeah.
For the rest
Forever.
of fucking life, bro. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Or
you like my $45,000 Snap-on toolbox?
Just
Like, what are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? What did you just say?
Pull up to
I
your
don't get it.
twice a week.
yeah,
Yeah.
a week until you fucking die. $100. $100, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like more? No? Okay.
I mean, you reach a point where you're like, it's just $100 a week, right? Yeah. You're like, all right, so I can just get more shit. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, fuck it.
I don't know. What do you say? $50 a week in the 90s. Yeah. 100 a week till you die. Sure. I don't know.
If you die early, it's
Right.
a good deal. You die early.
Now they come get that shit.
Do they?
They'll come get it
Postmortem?
until it's out of date.
The
You know what I mean?
Snap-on shit.
Yeah, like let's say you bought like a
It's
fucking
non-transferable to your kids.
$8,000 toolbox, right? Because that's realistic. Like if I wanted a Snap-on box, the one I would want is probably like at least $8,000. I know it. It'd be sick as fuck. It'd be super cool.
Minimum.
And I wouldn't use it at all. But if I wanted that shit, let's say I got it, and then I fucking if it was like replaced and then replaced again, and then I died, then they wouldn't come get it. But if it was like kind of current, they'd come get
still
that
owed?
shit.
Well, if you owed money on it, right?
No, it doesn't matter how much you owe, because you always owe probably more than what you were paying for. It's like it's $8,000. And I've been making payments $100 a week for fucking like 7 years, and they're like, "How much do I owe?" And you're like, $8,800. You're like, "Hey,
Like 33% interest.
the fuck?" You know, they're like, "Yeah."
It's like a student loan. It's like never goes down. It's their fucking FDIC backed for fucking Snap-on. Shit. It's crazy how much money they get for their stuff. But I don't know. I never used to. I mean, I probably have, but I don't think I noticed any difference. Do you guys notice the difference? I mean, they're quality tools.
Oh,
but
in the 80s, in the fucking 80s, it was
Yeah.
for sure different. But in 2023, Harbor Freight is right fucking there.
Yeah.
And like, how close is Harbor Freight to you, Steve?
Like 20 minutes.
Oh, that's a long way. There are 3 of them. One of them is less than a minute from my shop, and there's another one that's like 2 minutes from my shop. 3, maybe. Right?
Really?
Ben?
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
probably 3 by my house too.
Yeah. And there's another one
Same
fucking
area.
10 minutes, and there's another one fucking 15 minutes. I mean, like, they're right fucking there.
It's crazy.
Sometimes
We only
it's
have-
like, oh, we don't have it here. They have it on Greenback. I'm like, oh, I'll just go grab it there.
And
I
why
think
do
we
you
only have 2.
free screwdriver set with you? Okay.
I
Okay.
think we only have 2 in all of Vegas, which is kind of crazy. We should have way more.
Whoa. Yeah, there's like
That is crazy.
10 in the Sacramento area.
At
For
We
least.
have a ton of Home Depots and Lowe's. They're
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah, we have that too. Yeah. There'll be like a Home Depot and then a Lowe's.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The Harbor Freight,
Yeah.
the one of the 2 Harbor Freights is directly behind the Home Depot. It's like the Home Depot's brick wall is here, and then that's Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, for some shit, dude, you can't really go wrong. You need to buy clamps. You want to recon some subs, buy those little clamps. Like a perfect spot for it. What you looking at there?
I'm looking at the comments. We got to keep on this shit. Normally Drew's on it, and he's all popping
Drew's
above
on
the
it,
screen.
dude. Yeah. Yeah, Drew. Oh, here we go. Drew is probably mid-flight right now. I don't know what the hell he was doing over there. He was tuning a side by side or something. Is that what he was going to do? Tune somebody's fucking four-wheeler or something? I don't know. That's what he said. Side by side.
I mean,
where all the audio's at now.
Somewhere along the way, DSP tuning, and I don't know how long ago it was. DSP tuning started happening on regular installs in high-end vehicles, not car audio competitors.
Yeah, slingshot.
And then now everybody wants their fucking motorcycles DSP tuned and they're fucking side by side, and they're like, "Hey, bro, I need you to tune my cell phone."
Well, I'll tell you,
my iPad, bro.
Any dudes.
I don't even think
big
it's a
systems.
speaker. Maybe this is a speaker. I don't know if it's a speaker or not. But I need fucking JL Max Tune on this.
Maybe that's you should start by
it's a
tuning that
speaker.
first.
What is this?
Practice. But if you got money to put stereo,
it's a Wi-Fi amplifier, but I'm still gonna fucking tune it with my Max.
Still gonna tune it with your Max, yeah.
Yeah.
If you got money to drop into a stereo of a side by side or a motorcycle, it's like once your
then you should DSP.
Shit,
you should Max tune your fucking Asus Wi-Fi fucking amplifier.
100%.
I'm not even running a DSP in the hearse. I just run a PR80. No.
He's actually going to run a PCP.
Yeah.
It's going to be the best.
One more thing I'd have to worry about. I'm sure, no matter what, it's going to be super loud, but I've never really ran a DSP other than in Cyclone when I had to actually like score with a DSP.
Right. I mean, I'm kind of almost just using a DSP as like a cock box in a way. I mean, I'm going to use all the features of it, but it just kind of almost replaces that for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Once I ran a system, my last Explorer build was all DSP tuned, and it sounded so much better that I don't think I can't go back without it. Yeah.
No, DSPs are the shit. The first time I put a DSP in a vehicle was because my buddy was like, "Hey, that little tiny bit of fucking engine noise you have, I bet if you put a DSP in there, it'll go away." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "All right." And then it was Will Welcher, and he's like, "Here, I have one." And he like dug this thing out of a box. It was like the bottom of a shitty toolbox, and it's like, and he's like, "Oh, there's all the plugs and everything, and it's all dirty and fucked up. It's got sound deadening on it and shit." And I'm like, "All right." And I put it in, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I was like, "Oh, this has got equalizers for every channel." I didn't know that it did all that. I'm like, "Fuck, that's cool."
Yeah.
And it made the engine noise go away. So I was like, I was all in. I'm like, "Oh, I'm into this. This is cool."
Yeah.
And then
for sure.
And then I was like, "How do you tune all those equalizers? How the fuck? I mean, that's fucking ridiculous." It's like, "Oh, you put a mic in there and you do all this shit." And I was, working with Audio Dynamics quite a bit. This is like 2016, 2017. And he's like, "Oh, you buy all this shit." And I ordered all the shit off of Amazon, and it showed up, and I put the software on my fucking laptop and put the mic in there. And I'm playing Pink Noise, and I'm all confused. It's all, I'm all, looking at the signal. I'm like, he's like, make the wave look like this. I'm all, okay.
Figured it out though.
And I beep-a-boppled, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I got 2 laptops. I got a table. I got wires coming out of the car. The fucking track's starting over. I'm all, what the fuck am I doing? I'm super drunk. I was like, "Oh, I gotta stop. I don't know what I'm doing. This is stupid." I'm like, fuck. By the time I had my shit together, I was in there. And then I was like, all right, I got it pretty close. It's like, and I sat in the car and I turned the motherfucker on and I was like, this sounds fucking amazing. I was like, holy shit. I was like, okay. And I like went back out and I'm like, now I'm going to make it fucking perfect. And then I sat there and I was fucking with it. And I got it to be this perfect Harmon curve. This is what I looked up, you know?
Yeah.
Because he said, make it like the Harmon curve. You'll be fine. And I was fucking blown away. It sounded fucking outstanding. And then I started being able to identify what frequencies bothered me and what were hotter to me. And then I noticed some people were similar and some people were very different. And then I started finding customers that had like massive amounts of hearing damage. And yeah. So anyway, the what do you have? You tuned your complimentary Delta earbuds perfectly to the Harmon target curve. Yeah. On the plane while you're doing it. That's what Drew's doing.
That's what Drew's doing right now.
He was like, oh, I'm gonna get on the thing, and he was like, oh shit. These earbuds sound like shit.
I'm gonna tune a while in mid-flight.
People. He's all weird. He's got his all 5 mics all stuffed into his beard. They're all sticking out.
Hell yeah.
Fuck around. I'm going to have to do that shit. I'm going to like get in a car with it all set up and I'm going to have them all sticking in my fucking beard on purpose. Like tape one to my cheek on each side. And like,
is this how I'm supposed to use this? He's like, no, stupid. Use the thing they all came on. Oh. Yeah. Well, boys.
Casey, I got my JL Max Tune thing, so you can come in and I mean, you got to pay us, but we'll figure out how to use that fucking thing. I mean, I know how to use an RTA. Just got to set up the Max and get it dialed in and tune your car. So bring some money, but I'll give you a good deal. I mean, it'll be fun. Yeah. I'm excited about my Max. It arrived the other day. That shit was expensive, dude. It was like $4,000. I was like, ah. I'm on the phone with the guy. I'm like, yeah, I want to buy it. Oh, fuck.
That's fucking expensive.
I want to use it on my hearse for sure. I want to tune it. I just don't want the extra RCA connections, and I've broken like 3 of those DSPs and SPL builds. So I just don't use one anymore. But I do still want to tune the doors with it. Because there is some playability in the PRS-80.
What if you did an optical out into the Tweak DSP?
Or any other DSP,
right? Yeah.
Or any other DSP.
Because I'm going to run the Tweak DSP.
We put a DSP in there. I just have a cog box set up for, I think, 2 in. Which, I mean, I guess we could still run. But it's 2 in, 20 out.
Why not?
20 out.
Why not like
front or right, left, and then the 20 RCAs for the 5/4 channels?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you could still the DSP.
Why not 2 cock boxes?
Yeah.
Front, rear, all 4. Right, and then another cock box for your sub amps, or do they daisy chain? They daisy chain.
Well, I have that hearse for my.
Oh yes, that's right. Okay, so you need 2 cock boxes.
Well, you have one cock box that's 2 in and 20 out, basically 4 channel in and 20 out.
Yeah,
you could still run a 4 channel in from the DSP, just like you would from your head unit. Same difference. Still run that cock box, and then from the sub outputs of the DSP could go to your sub cock box.
Yeah,
golden.
Yeah,
and then if you didn't want, well, I mean, the extra RCAs from the from your PRS to the DSP, if you want to get rid of that, you could just run something that has an optical out. I don't know. Do any head units even have optical outs? Or what would you even use, Bobby?
I don't know. I need something.
The only thing that has an optical out that I know of are the Stinger head units.
I need
the
something
Hi-10
that
and the
like
Elevate.
30-foot whip on it too.
What?
A 30-foot whip because it comes out the back. The radio comes out of the back of the hearse.
I'd be really worried about an optical cable dragging around on the fucking
100%.
ground and shit with people. You know, it was crazy that I thought was really weird when I had the big umbilical that Buddy and Kyle made for the Green Monster.
What's that?
Is that people would step on that motherfucker. I'd be all, hey, you're stepping on that shit, and they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh, you need to get the fuck off my shit, or I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm like, you're like, that's not that cool. That's like, there's a lot of really important shit going on in there. I don't know why you would think it's okay to step on that. That's
I'm gonna run everything behind the tires,
cables.
but I see people slam their doors in them all the time.
Yeah, I know. I closed mine on it. Usually I tried to do it gently, but
right.
I tried really hard not to step on my shit, and people be just standing on my shit. I'd be you know. I mean, and every once in a while, it'd be like somebody that didn't know shit about what they were looking at, like walking up and they just step on it, but they'd be like a car audio guy, and they'd be like, have their foot on it, all tapping it and shit. I'm all, hey, fuck you doing? Like,
tapping it. Look at
like,
it.
why the fuck are you standing on that wire? That's like,
fuck. So I got
you understand that if you smush that enough,
yeah, you could damage
all the
it
magic
for sure.
smoke comes out of everything in the fucking truck, right? Like, you know.
So what I'm running in the Explorer is going to be something nobody's really doing yet, but I think a lot of the kicker competition group guys are going to be doing. We're going to be running they got a KMC 5. It's their marine head unit, and then you could buy a remote for it that's basically like a little screen that's wireless. So you keep the KMC. I don't know if it does, but it doesn't matter because
probably
KMC 5 is going to stay.
It'd be the shit if it did, and everybody should use it.
It might. I'll have to look, but that's going to stay in the back, and then I'm going to have the wireless screen remote along with Slam Panda's wireless bass knob. So I will have no umbilical cord or nothing. I'm just going to have a little box that holds the screen and the bass knob. That's
cool. I like that.
No cords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a Facebook user asked if we have a box for a 2013 Ford F-250 crew cab. Yes, we do. There's a behind the seat box, holds 4 6.5s, fits and performs extremely well. Like, it will blow your fucking mind. No, it won't fit fucking 8s. No, nothing else will fit and perform better at all. So go buy that shit right now. If you buy that shit right now, I'll throw on a t-shirt and I'll use it as a nut rag.
If you want to try a DSP, there's a freebie for you. I don't know about
what
the
is
nut
it?
rag.
The
Casey
needy
offered
DSP.
a free DSP.
I want to see what's wrong with that. I want to try that, Casey. I want to figure out what the fuck the issue was with that thing.
Yeah, because I had good luck with the second version of that. If that's the third version, I had good luck with the second version. The only reason I got rid of it was Cyclone at the time called for 31 bands, and I think it only had like 16 or something like that. So
the Facebook user, yes, they are in stock. Scott, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There's no seat lift for the older the older F-250s. So yeah. Yep.
Okay. They're coming in fast now. I can't click them in time. Yeah, I've heard mixed things about the DD. I mean, isn't it the DD DSP and the one off Parts Express? What the hell's the name of that one? The Dayton.
Yeah, the Dayton.
And there's like one other one. They're like basically the same. Is that right?
I don't know if unless it's the new DD, but the second series DD was different than the 408.
Okay. So was it the first one? Would they look just like the Dayton one? Basically had the same knob, same like light up dials. And
the first one.
I mean, this was 4 years ago now, 5 years ago. So
I remember somebody had a relatively inexpensive. That was a fun word. That's. I have a little bit of a buzz. I'm a little guy and I drank 5 of these. So, expensive. I made it a word.
They had an inexpensive. What was it? What brand?
Inexpensive. Yes, that made it even better, huh?
Yeah.
It was a DD, and
Okay.
it worked really well, and we were able to tune it on a phone in the parking lot of my shop in like a rainstorm. And I was like people popping, and I set all of his crossover points for him, and did like I like knocked down some frequencies that I could hear were a little hot, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" He was all super duper stoked that I had tuned his audio system for him. I was like, "Dude, it took me 20 minutes. It was, I just said I was trying to help you not blow up your fucking speakers in here. You're about to melt your tweeters in here." So, but
yeah, that's how Hunter's was. He was able to tune it
was
from
really
his
cool.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The audio dynamics programs with a phone really well. So well that I had loaded the app onto my Linkswell head unit that I had in my truck, and it would be a little bigger because it was on the big screen. And I'd be driving down the road, and I'd be like, let me try it with, let me try cross it over a little higher, and then put a slower, a less steep roll off.
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah. And then I'd listen to a bunch of different songs. I'd be like, fuck, I'm gonna put it back, and I would change it a little bit, and I'd go back, and I would be like this like little thing I would do when I was driving by myself is I would like stop at a light and be like, all right, now I'm going to change this. And I'd be bobble. And I was like playing with the tune actively real time. It was like learning, it was like learning so I was training my ears as well, and I could always like, all right, now let's be realistic. Let's go back to mic.
And what DSP was that?
Done with just the mic. And,
what DSP
and there was a few times where I was like, this is the fucking way. And with my ears, and then I put it on the mic, and it was not far off. And then I was like, okay, well then maybe my target curve becomes this, but I never made that official. So
yeah. Hunter ran just a DSP, didn't he? And just his phone? Wasn't he able to just link just his phone up to
it? I think after the RCA debacle, that may have been what he ended up doing, because he had a bunch of issues with RCAs. They used the DD RCA system where you could cut your own, and
that's what I have.
Like, so the problem with those is the way they ground, in my opinion. It uses that set screw that basically just screws itself through the jacket, and that's how it grounds the ground of the terminal. That's how it connects itself to the ground of the cord. And with enough,
when I've used them, I've cut a little slit right there, so that the actual, because the screw is like slightly pointed.
Right. It's supposed to just make its own hole and all whatever. But
actually go through the shielding though on its own without pre-cutting it.
Well, I think it's meant to just screw in without cutting. But either way, I guess from enough of with Hunter, with the amount of times he would take stuff in and out, enough moving of those ends, it just so many of them went bad. And with shit, I don't even know how many RCAs he had. So much shit going on back there, it just became a nightmare trying to track all the shit down. And a lot of them, every time we found something bad, it was mainly because of the ground. It had a bad ground. He'd have to move it, screw it back into a different spot. So, yeah. I just run the cheap kicker RCAs, and they seem to do well. It seems like the cheaper RCA I buy, the better they work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Bobby says too.
Yeah, just a little twisted pair. That's all you freaking need, pretty much. And let your other stuff get rid of the noise. But I don't know. I haven't had the RCA issues that most people seem to have had.
The only thing I'm going to be moving, hopefully, in mine a lot is just going to be the radio box. Maybe that I'll have to get what's the longest that Sky High makes? A 22 foot?
No idea. Bobby might know. What's the longest RCA Sky High makes?
The whole time I was gone.
Yeah,
that's what you're going to need to do from now on. Okay, need you guys to wait.
What's the longest RCA Sky High makes? Do you know, by chance?
I don't know, but we can make you one. Okay. I'll fucking make you one a goddamn 250 feet long if you want. I'll fucking do the whole spool, the whole ass roll, and we'll put the ends at each end. Boom. There's your shit. You trying to tie somebody up or what? What are you doing?
I think you should get with Panda, dude, and have him make you one of those wireless RCA boxes, and then you
Well,
could just
I
it
have
could
a
all
radio
be in your
box.
thing.
I have a radio
Huh?
box already.
It could all be in there instead of running the RCAs out. The RCAs could just run into the receiver. The receiver could go in your radio box or on your radio box.
The radio box, but I do need another bass knob, so maybe I can do that. And I use the bass knob on the box for the mids and highs or something.
Yeah.
I think you should put a bass knob for each amplifier on each subwoofer.
Yeah.
So you have 8 bass knobs. You're over there. Yeah. You're manually phase controlling everything.
Yeah.
Phase knobs.
The front ones are 3/4.
Fuck it. Just get a phase knob. This is my phase knob.
Bass knob.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Phase knob would be the best. That's the phase knob. You're like, guys,
8 of them.
you know, if you want to, like, dude, I'm gonna send it. You're like, yeah, cool. There's a phase knob for the 4 subs on the right. Just crank that shit 180. It's over. Self-destruct.
Implodes.
You hit a button.
Yeah.
It's the self-destruct button. It's all phase button. 180.
Yeah.
Just 180.
Yeah,
all the subs on the
4
right.
of the subs go one way, 4 the other.
God.
Yeah. Also, it makes your car makes no noise and just heat.
Just yeah.
Awesome. Just
Yeah.
like, wow, it's fucking hot in here, dude.
No, you just phase knob the coils. Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, that sounds like a
good
terrible
time.
plan.
So since I missed a whole bunch of what was going on, I'm going to talk about totally different shit.
You didn't miss
Because
anything.
that's
We've
what I
done
do.
2 hours already. How long do you want to talk for?
We're going to wrap it up pretty fucking quick here. But
okay.
first thing I'm going to say is I went over there
gotta get some dinner.
I went in my bedroom to go take a pee. Because I pee on the floor in my bedroom. No, I'm just kidding. I went in the bathroom, but I stopped and I was like gonna wave just to my wife and run by, and she was like on a phone call, and I was like, who is she talking to? She was on the phone with like some woman with like a kind of southern accent. And I'm like, who is she talking to? And then I realized what the woman was saying because I was listening. I was like, who is it? And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm gonna throw in, if you like Starbucks, this, and I'm like, what are you doing? And she mutes it. She mutes, herself, and she's like, we're getting 4 nights in Vegas. I'm all, okay.
Oh, God.
I'm like, are you giving them any money at all? And she's like, a very
You just have to go to a
little bit.
2-hour
I'm like,
presentation,
fuck,
right?
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're gonna have to go to a presentation. She's like, I know. I'm all, you're going. I'm not.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, Bobby. Go tell her before she hangs up. I used to do that. Just tell her to keep asking for stuff. They have so much stuff that they're allowed to just keep throwing at you over and over until you just say yes. So just tell her to keep asking for more buffets and more shows and more whatever upgrades, and they'll just fucking keep pouring it on, dude. That guy wants to make his $32 in commission.
It was a woman. She sounded very nice. She had a very southern draw, a little bit of southern draw. She sounded really nice.
Dude, there was some guys. I had this job for 1 month. I didn't call anybody. I just got my paycheck until they fired me because they realized I wasn't doing anything. So I was playing on my phone. But I hated it. I didn't want to cold call anybody, dude. But there was dudes in that office in like 1998.
Dude, I haven't had it happen yet, but I've been pretty close a couple times. I try to sell car audio to telemarketers. They'll call and I'll be like, and I'm like, hey, you called me. What subwoofers are you trying to buy? I'm like, what box do you need? But me and Kyle Cook and I were driving down to Vegas. Must have been for the showdown. And we were driving down, and I got this guy on, and he was like, dude, that sounds awesome, and I fucking love having beat in my cars, man, but like I just got out of prison and I live in like a fuck, I don't even have a car. I barely got a bike now. And I was like, okay, check it out. When you get on your feet and you get your first car, you hit me up and I will fucking hook you up so fucking fat, dude. And I was like, I will give you a fucking huge discount on all of our shit. We will hook you up. I haven't heard from that guy yet, man. It's been years. It sucks. I'm like, damn, or maybe he just didn't think it was real. Because I mean, you guys all know I don't fucking discount shit. Because I think it's stupid. But like, if you're some dude that just got out of fucking prison and you're struggling and you're like fucking around and you finally made it and you got your own car, dog, I got a discount for you. I got something. I got some shit sitting around there that I will fucking plug that shit hella cheap. You know?
So for everybody watching, if you want discounts from Bobby,
you better fool me. But if I catch you in some bullshit, I'll fuck you up.
No, not that. But what are you drinking? Just give him some of that crystal beer. He gets a little looser there.
Crystal beer.
Whatever the fuck you're drinking. Sparkle beer.
Sparkle
beer.
Sparkle beer.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. No, anyway. But I try real hard to sell those motherfuckers. Anyway, okay. So earlier this week I saw a couple things happen. I saw some hater shit, right? And one fucking hater thing was this dude jumped on a post about a Steve Mead. It was funny because this guy was like, dude, this fucking meter was like $70 and you can't even adjust it. And it was like, okay, you guys know you don't need to adjust SMD voltage meters. There's no reason to adjust it. They're never wrong. You don't need to adjust that shit. That shit is engineered by Tony Diamore. And the reason why it was engineered by Tony Diamore was because Steve asked for it to be done that way. All these products that Steve makes that has his name on it are all concepted by Steve. These products do what... No, it wasn't you. Casey, you said a bunch of silly ass shit, and you said a bunch of shit that actually isn't real and doesn't make any sense. And I don't even know where you got any of that information from, but that's okay. Like, I still love you and you're my boy. But these products that say SMD, when Steve approached Tony Diamore, and they're good friends, he said, hey, I want you to make this I want this distortion detector, and this is how I want it to work to the end user. Can you design the electronics for that? And Tony Diamore said yes. And the same with the voltmeter. I want a voltmeter, but I don't want them to ever need to adjust it. It should reference itself and have proper fucking have proper alignment so you don't have to adjust it. The same way a fluke meter works. That's why fluke meters are always right. So this guy had made a post asking about, why you couldn't adjust that shit, right? And this guy jumps in and he's like, never buy Gately or Mead shit. And I'm like, damn, he's throwing me in and I ain't even in this fucking post. And he's throwing, and I was reading it and I was seeing people respond. Everybody was responding really well, right? Nobody was super mean to him. Everybody just kind of was like, all right, dude, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, you can buy the half price mediocre shit and save your money. And that's okay. Right. That was the consensus. Right. But I love those guys and they're right to him. Right. That guy looks at my product or Steve's product and he's like, that shit's just too much. I could buy a fuse link. I could buy a voltmeter. I could buy a speaker box for fucking half or even less than what those guys make. Now, does it work as good? To most people, no, it fucking doesn't. It doesn't work as good. Is there a reason why my enclosures likely will outperform most others available? Even your fucking custom guy that'll build you a custom one just for you, just for your sub? Yes, there is. The material I build with, how I assemble it, the testing that I do on the product on the front end, the fact that my prefab, I don't call them prefab, I call them production, because we produce them and they're not just slapped together bullshit the way that prefab has become. Most prefab boxes are something that somebody built and they went, this is what fits and I can fit a 12 there. There it is. There's your box. And nobody tested shit. Nobody even bothered. Nobody tried once. Not one fucking time. Have they bothered? Most box designers have literally never built a box at all, let alone fucking did extensive testing on all of their designs. They usually design all this garbage in shitty box design software that's intended to be in a building, and they're running 1 watt. Or not even in a building, in an outdoor environment, and they're running 1 fucking watt. We're running goddamn tens of thousands of fucking watts, literally tens of thousands of watts, and we're in a little itty bitty fucking goddamn car. And that software is not designed for that shit. So yes, there is a reason. We test the shit out of our product. We try it really fucking hard to make it as awesome as it can be. And nobody can actually argue that something else works better. They fucking can't. They can be like, oh, it's so much money. So what I love about those guys, they're my fucking favorite. They sell more shit for me than you guys that buy my shit and say, I fucking love it. Because those guys go, that shit's overpriced. It's fucking, oh, it's rape. It's fucking turds. It's, oh, dude, those guys. And I see those and I'm like, here it comes. I'm going to see orders coming through on my site. I fucking know it. And I'm like, these guys are the fucking best. And I was like, God, keep it going. I wish somebody would have co-signed that guy's shit. Nobody did. Nobody did. I was kind of bummed out. Nobody else jumped in. Like, nobody. A dozen or so guys are like, I don't know, bro. My fucking Gately box is the shit. I fucking love it. Bunch of guys like that. And I love that. And nobody was mean to him. Nobody was like, you're a fucking douche. You want to fight? I mean, nobody did that shit. So good job, everybody that jumped in and said they love their shit. But those guys that are like, that shit's outrageous. I can't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. And fucking $1,500 for a 4.8 box and blah, 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 blah. And they go on and on and on and on. And sometimes there's a few more guys in it. And what really happens more often than not is somebody's like, they're like, read that. And they go, I don't give a fuck if it costs $1,500. They're like, is it going to work better? Then, okay. And they look, next thing they know, they're at fucking gatelyaudio.com or Sky High or fucking SMD's website. What is it? West Coast Car Audio. And they're like, oh, that looks really cool.
Yeah.
Fits my truck.
If you were to go to a shop,
readily available, right? I can order that right now. That shit will arrive in 3 days. Dude, I've been waiting fucking 6 months for fucking custom lows or whatever fucking guys that are fucking literally stealing people's fucking money sometimes. Fucking to build them a fucking box. I mean, like, I fucking love that kid, Justin, when I talk to him, but now I'm like, dude, when a dozen or so people have been like, this guy took my money, I'm like, dude, you need to stay the fuck over there and quit fucking people out of their money. It's not that cool. So I see this shit and I go, okay, cool. And they go, I could just buy this shit and it'll arrive in a week and be awesome. And they go, oh, and they look and they go, motherfucker, I'm finding videos online of these boxes, and they find the video of Ben's truck that Ray Pimley posted, and they're like, that looks bitchin'. Hey, I was thinking about that 4.6 in that box. I'm like, dude, that shit was 1.5 years, 2 years ago. What we make for that vehicle is way beyond that, and you should get our 2.8 box with our Relentless subs and this amp and this, and it'll be fucking outstanding, even better than what you fucking saw in that video. And they're like,
if you were to go, Bobby, if you were to go to a shop and you ask them to build just a normal car audio, just a normal dude going into the shop, he wants 4.8 custom built box under the seat of his truck. What are they going to charge him?
$900
at a minimum,
right?
I'd say, yeah. Or
if they're really good and they're actually charging appropriate money, they're probably charging $1,200.
Yeah, I was thinking $1,200 to $1,500 for a custom box for your truck. Like, wow. So you might as well spend $1,200 on one of your boxes.
My box is $1,575.
Well, whatever.
Yeah,
spend a little bit more.
It's going to be less. It's more often than not less. Hey, I went to this shop and they said it was going to be this, and I go, well,
you might spend a little bit more money for your box, but it's the way
material.
Like
our assembly process, the way that the boxes,
better,
the way the parts go together.
Yeah,
you know, it's usually more, but And it's going to fucking dominate. It's going to dominate that shit, especially if they're using our subs that were designed specifically to work in our boxes. You know,
it's like you can't. A lot of people just want to compare apples to oranges. Just is what it is. Like they see your box and they want to compare it to a prefab that's $120 on Amazon.
well, what I'm saying is that I
compare
fucking love it when they do. And so,
yeah.
So when like a lot of you guys that are watching, you guys fucking love the show. You love me and Steve and Drew, or sometimes you hate fucking Drew, but everybody loves Steve. But and Ben, everybody loves Ben. Nobody hates Ben. Nobody's like fuck that guy, right? but there's definitely plenty of people like fuck Drew, and there's a little bit of people that are like fuck Bobby, and that's okay, right? So
Drew's got some haters.
Oh yeah, he's got some haters because he's mean, and sometimes he's argumentative for no reason. Like we'll go into that, but
he's involved in
these guys that are like, oh, that shit's overpriced, and it's. I mean, unless they're telling an outright fucking lie, right? It's okay for them to not understand, right? Somebody looks at it and they're like, I cannot believe a 212 box is $869 shipped or something like that. $769, whatever the fuck it is. The big one, the 5.5 212 that was developed specifically to run 2 Nightshade or Z or X series Sundown subs. If they don't get it, they're like, it's a 212 box. What the fuck? Like,
yeah, they could get a 212 Fox box for $190, dude.
Yeah, they're like, bro, I can buy that shit. And you know what? The Fox box is pretty goddamn good. That guy is absolutely fucking brilliant, bro. He's a smart fucking dude, and he makes a lot of really cool shit. I think he could totally, absolutely make some really high-end products that were competitively priced to my product that would be very good. I just think he's got his niche. He got stuck in the let's make cheaper shit, and he's doing really, really, really well with it. And it's awesome. When people are like, hey, I was thinking about getting a Spox box or your box. And I'm like, if you're financially limited, you're going to be very happy with the Fox box. If you got a couple extra bucks, you're going to be louder and sound a little prettier with mine. I think you will. I put a lot of effort into doing that. And I tested some of those boxes that he makes. And I'm like, some of them I'm like, dude, I can't believe this thing is fucking $259. Yeah. I'm like, I can't even believe it. It's fucking outstanding. How do I make my $1,500 product better than this? I have to fucking work hard. And then we do it. We find the way to do it. You know, his Dodge under seat box, it'll fit 210s or 212s. I think it sounded a little bit better with 210s. It's fucking good. It's really good. For me to make it better, I had to work fucking hard. I had to put forth extended effort to make sure that thing was the utmost in performance and study the shit out of all of it to make it happen. So
I don't know if he means he has one of your boxes because he says
an X Customs.
What's X Custom? Is that I think he meant to say custom because the X is right next to the C.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, that might be a decent name for a fucking sub box company or anything else.
X Custom,
bro. It's custom. Yeah. Anyway, so
all right, boys. Well, okay. You have more. Do you have a little more to continue on your rant?
No. So what I'd like to reiterate in the end, like closing statement, is that when somebody is saying that things are overpriced. There was another guy that was saying something about Sundown and Jacob Fuller in the same way, and Jacob seemed a little frustrated by it. He blocked the guy and shit, and I was like, "God, dude, don't block that guy. You want to see what that guy's doing for you because he's doing a lot." You know, one of the best examples, and I think I brought it up before, is a guy was super stoked about his 5.5, or no, it was a 4.75 single 15 box, and he had a picture of it with his ZV6 sitting on the corner of the box, and he's like, I finally got my sub and my box is ready to go, and it was in the Sundown group, and I wasn't part of the Sundown group at the time, And all these guys are like, oh, single baffle. And we can have a whole conversation about that shit. And you double baffle, single baffle guys can all suck every dick in sight always. But they're going off and it's going to blow apart and blah, 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 and they're going on and on and on and on. And this shit went on and somebody was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. That's a Bobby Gately box. And they tagged me. That shit had like 380 comments.
I think I remember that.
In like 3 hours. And on my website, I could see it real time. There was like 30 and 50 people looking on my site while this whole page was going down. And I was like, this is awesome. And I sold like 5 boxes in like 24 hours that I know were directly connected to that fucking post. There was one guy was like, I just ordered one. Thanks, guys. Like, this is going to be cool. And I was like, you're the shit, dude. Like, I was so glad he did that. And that moment, I really realized that some of those haters, not only are they great for us, for me, for Sundown, for Drew, for fucking JP, for John, any of us that are making a fucking living off of this shit, they're right, at least by their terms. If they don't understand how Steve Meade's products work and what they do, then they're not going to be able to use it correctly, right? Okay. And then it's going to make it a useless thing for them, a $50, $60, $80 fucking voltmeter for them that they don't understand what it's doing for them. They don't understand how fast that thing responds, right? If you're like, this thing's all blinky red all the time, and my Stinger voltage meter fucking stays solid at 13.1. They don't get it. They don't understand. They think there's something wrong with Steve's fucking product. Well, then, by their terms, they're right. It's this overpriced thing that they don't use. They can't use it. It's dumb for them.
Yeah.
If they don't understand that all of the testing and development that goes into one of my enclosures, right? They might look at somebody's audio system that has one of my boxes in it that's performing extremely well and go, oh, well, it's like, it's one of those ones that came together just right. The way that their sub box builder on the fucking corner builds shit. And some of them are really awesome and some of them are shit. Because I was that fucking guy. Except I gave a fuck. When something worked really well, if the guy that I built something for that was really similar the past time before, I'd be calling that guy up. Hey, I want to fuck with something on your box. I want to change something. I want to build you a new one. I want to make it fucking better because I learned something new and it's so much more advanced that I don't want you to feel like you missed something or you got left out, right? So anyway. That's
it's that whole thing like you pay for
bring up. What
you pay for it's that whole thing that when you hire somebody that has 20 years experience doing something and they can get it done in an hour and they charge you $500, they're like, dude, it only took you an hour. It's like, yeah, but it took me 25 years to figure out how to do it in an hour and how to do it that well in an hour. So you're paying for that 25 years of experience. That's
I mean, I had to, not only did I figure out how to build these boxes the way I build them, I figured out how to train my technicians to build them. Sometimes there are boxes that get built and shipped, and I didn't even fucking look at them. I didn't even touch it. I didn't see it. I didn't have anything to do with it other than the fact that I designed it a long ass time ago, and my techs did it.
Yeah.
And that's fucking awesome. And part of paying, it's a truck box. It's $15.75. We built fucking goddamn 18 of them at a time. But we have, 5,000 square feet of shop space that we have to pay the rent on. And I have 8 employees that need to be able to feed their families and pay their fucking mortgages. And we're not some guy that's doing a little side thing fucking around in his driveway. So the margin has to be for real. We have to actually be able to make a living. Sky has to be able to buy them from me at a point where they can make a little bit of money fucking selling them to the dealer, which has to sell them at a profit to their customer on the end. And when we're going to make more of them, that doesn't mean you make it fucking cheaper. It means that more people can be involved and more people can make a fucking living. That's what people miss. They were like, oh, you're fucking make 20 of them at a time and you charge fuck. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. You're right. There's fucking $30,000 worth of boxes. I get a couple hundred out of each one. That's it. But you know what? One of my employees got $50 out of each one, and another employee got $50 at each one, and another employee got $50 at each one, and Sky High got a couple hundred out of each one, and the fucking dealer in the end made a couple hundred out of each one. So
Yeah.
And so everybody involved, and I get to provide a product that you can fucking buy, just like Sundown can, just like JL can, just like a lot of us that actually give a fuck about what we're providing to the end user. It can confidently buy without being worried about it. Yeah, maybe sometimes there's a guy that makes there's a guy at the end of your fucking street that's working his ass off, that's building boxes here and there in his driveway, and maybe, just maybe, he's doing a great job and it's half the price or even less than what a Gately audio box is. Fucking for sure, go buy from that dude. Go and rock that shit and make it awesome and help him out. Go fucking pay him whatever the fuck he says. Tip him an extra $100. Buy him a pizza. Buy him a case of beer. Whatever the fuck he's into, and make it awesome and grow this fucking industry. But don't tell me I'm fucking ripping people off when I'm fucking helping feed fucking 7 or 8 fucking families that are working under me. And actually, you know what? Go ahead. Tell people I'm ripping people off because the people that see that price and they're like, that doesn't bother me a fucking bit. I just want to, I could buy that shit right now. Like the instant gratification doubles your fucking value. And like, I get people that call like, if I ordered that now, when would I get it? I'm like, I don't know, early next week. They're like, really? I'm like, there's a stack of them in Sparks, Nevada. You want one? And they're like, yeah. Should I just click the thing and buy it right now? Unless you want me to give you a credit card over the phone. And they're like, you can do that? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, boom. Yep. Their box is ordered.
Convenience factor.
Yeah. And they're fucking happy. So, yep. Anyway.
Okay. Yes,
that's what I wanted to bring up.
That was a hell of a rant. That was solid 23 minutes. Killed it, bro. I'm not. That was a hell of a rant, bro. That was good. I believe.
Well, it was something to talk about that I noticed the other day, and I didn't bother doing a live feed, just chatting about it online. And I figured all these guys would love to hear this shit. So those guys actually, you know, I know Byron. Byron sees them pop up, and he sees the haters, and he's like, hey, your fucking website's about to start getting hot right now, and I know it. And I'm all, oh, was there a hater? He's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, let's see what he's saying. And they're like, oh, that's fucking ridiculous. And blah, blah, blah. No, this fucking, and it's like, okay, cool. This is going good. You know, it's fucking 60, 80 comments in a half an hour. I'm going to start getting paid. So, yeah.
You might have to just start paying somebody to post hater comments about you, like JP does.
I mean, you know, that's a real thing in the world. Like celebrities have that shit. They've had people like go and talk shit on purpose. So,
yeah, not just in celebrity world. It's happened in our world. So
people do it on purpose.
Yeah, I know somebody who was paying people.
Jump online later and talk shit about Gately audio boxes. Make a fake name. Casey will fucking do that shit for sure. That motherfucker will do it on like 15 goddamn pages.
Yeah, we had him on what? 4
Yeah, we had Andrew Showers on. Man, go back and watch that shit. He's really good.
Yeah.
Look at Casey's like, I'm so fucking good at it. You're too good. You might like make people think I'm actually shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck.
You had some people fooled that Steve was faking it the whole time, and he wasn't, man. You were like super wrong. You were like stating things that weren't real facts at all. You were like the opposite of facts. It was kind of lying. It wasn't the coolest thing ever, Casey. Like I've been meaning to like be like, hey, buddy. you were saying a lot of things that weren't actually for real about my boy Steve. He's actually amazing. So anyway,
speaking of, we're gonna have him on soon. Maybe.
yeah, we
next
will
few
have him on soon.
episodes,
I need to bring that up. I'm going to see him tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. He'll be at my shop. We'll be filming some more about that crazy ass 33-inch, 32-inch B2 subwoofer. Speaking of Andrew Showers, monster fucking subwoofer for his house. And that's been a fun project. Did most of the design work on that. So tomorrow we'll get that laid out and start cutting some parts, and then get that thing built in the next couple of weeks or so. Casey, of all the people to be calling somebody a dick, now I love you, but you're a dick. You are a dick. Steve is also a dick, but in such a good way, and so are you. You guys, if like for realsies, you would actually really love Steve if you really knew him at all, because he's fucking brilliant, and I think you would actually like his personality for reals. I think some people like you. If I didn't know you in person, Casey, I'd be like, I'm gonna fuck that guy up when I see him. I really for reals you would. But like, you're fucking really cool, and yeah.
that is pretty weird.
Okay.
Or do you at least cut hair for a living?
Yeah.
It'd be way weirder if you didn't. He's just
we're either you or I actively masturbating in the dream
while cutting your hair. Fucking.
You don't jack off when you're getting a haircut? Oh man,
I mean, I cut my own hair, so. That'd be kind of awkward trying to shave my head while I'm giving myself a hand job. You know,
try it next time. Let us know how it goes.
Cut myself. Yeah, and I have band-aids all over my fucking head. I tried it, Bobby. Look at me.
I tried. Your eyes all still swollen and red because you jizzed in it. And you got a cut on your ear. A chunk of fucking earlobe is missing. You're like, how were you shaving it from the bottom?
Anyway, oh my god.
Beard's gone.
All right, boys.
Finish
guys. Have a good night.
Ben, thanks for joining us, buddy. And we'll see you.
We'll bring you on again sometime soon, I hope.
Cool.
When the fucking hearse is like operational, we got like the first burp video when it like flinks body parts of somebody like Buddy Williams out of the vehicle, and we'll bring you back on. So
yeah, sounds great.
Awesome. All right, boys. Have a nice night.
All right.
Later.
Yeah. Later, guys.